The crowd started building early this morning at Saratoga in anticipation of a card filled with equine stars and Hall of Famers. It's Travers Day, where year after year champions are made. Last year at Saratoga, it was a key component to Songbird and Dreyfong's championship seasons.
She is a perfect 10. Songbird with the greatest of ease today.
Dreyfong rolls home in the King's Bishop.
But both have challengers ready to knock them off their perch. Songbird gets her toughest test yet as a 4-year-old in the personal ensign.
This fantastic filly wins the fence.
She faces dual Grade 1 winner Forever Unbridled.
Forever Unbridled on the outside has taken over, and she strides away.
And in the 4-go, it's a Breeders' Cup Sprint rematch with champion Dreyfong and fast-charging Mind Your Biscuits, who had to settle for third.
On the outside, Mind Your Biscuits takes third. Dreyfong, the sprint champion.
It's a day filled with defending champions and heroes in the making. It's Travers Day, a midsummer championship on Saratoga Live. Two-time champion filly Songbird returns to Saratoga in the personal ensign, trying to continue her ascent and go down as one of the great fillies of all time. Who's the best 3-year-old sprinter in the country? Undefeated Colt Front is out to prove East is better than West in a showdown with American Anthem. As for the best sprinter in the world, that question could be settled for now in the 4-go, where Mind Your Biscuits is ready for revenge on reigning Breeders' Cup Sprint winner Dreyfong. And what colors will the Travers canoe be painted after today's Triple Crown showdown? And will there be another Arrogate-like coming out party? We'll discuss the main event in an unsettled 3-year-old division to come. Welcome everyone to Travers Day at Saratoga Live, at one of the most historic race courses in all the country here. 6 Grade 1s on today's card. We will bring you 4 of them. It is presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. So many terrific storylines coming up this afternoon. Welcome to Saratoga. Greg Wolf here, rooftop with you. The great Songbird, a 2-time champion, looking to continue to become one of the great fillies in the history of this sport. She will need much better, however, than what she has provided in her 2 starts of 2017 if she hopes to continue to write that script. There is a look at her. Only a nose has separated her from complete perfection in her career, making the walkover to the paddock right now, set to do battle again in the Grade 1 personal ensign, and this will be the toughest test of 2017 for her, no doubt. Horse who finished right behind her in the Breeders' Cup Distaff will be matched up with her again with Forever Unbridled. That is race 6 in the personal ensign. Race 7, we have last year's favorite in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint, and maybe this year's favorite. They're both sent out by Chad Brown. Karina Mia, Paula's Silver Lining. In the Alan Jerkins, the undefeated Colt Front, it's East meeting West. American Anthem for Bob Baffert, who just won the Woody Stevens the last time he came out east, going head-to-head in the Grade 1 4-go. Maybe the 2 best sprinters on the planet, Dreyfong and Mind Your Biscuits, going head-to-head. Could be a huge day for both Chad Brown and potentially 7-time champion trainer Todd Pletcher as well, who has, of course, Always Dreaming and Taprit, the Derby and Belmont winner, back for more in the Travers with more on Todd Pletcher. Let's go to Gabby Gaudet.
Well, it's going to be a big day for trainer Todd Pletcher as he sends out 10 horses on today's card, and he really has won in every big race, including the personal ensign, the ballerina, the 4-go, the Alan Jerkins, and of course the Travers. He'll be sending out Taprit and Derby winner Always Dreaming. But you wouldn't really know that much is going on, at least judging by the vibe on the backstretch here. It's so quiet you can literally hear the horses chomping on their hay. It just goes to show you how well oiled this machine is. It's definitely not his first rodeo. Talking about Todd Pletcher on big days, guys.
Three major things to talk about, Tom, in today's card. Starting out with the paces in these races. Some of them have somewhat murky paces. Some of them have too much pace.
Right. Pace makes the race. That's a true statement. You look at the personal ensign, it's Songbird's race to lose on the front end. Nobody's going to be able to challenge her. The same is true in the foregrow. Dreyfong from that outside post position is the one that's going to make the lead and control everything. That is a big, big advantage in those two races.
No question about it, and it's not clear who's going to be the pace setter in the ballerina, and there may be too much pace in the Allen Jerkins. These are the Midsummer Championships. You look at these races, and a lot of championships are going to be very much decided today.
No, for a horse like Cloud Computing, who won the Preakness, or Always Dreaming, that won the Kentucky Derby, it's make it or break it time. If they don't perform today, they are out of the picture for championship honors, in my opinion.
And if a horse like Paula Silverlining wins her third Grade 1 of the year, she will be the sprint champion in that division. And if Dreyfong loses to Mind Your Biscuits has a stranglehold as sprinter of the year. Shipping is a big factor. Songbird is shipped across the country a zillion times. We've got Europeans coming in. How much of a role does that play for you as a trainer with your horses?
Well, there's nothing nicer than coming out of your own stall and walking over to saddle rather than having to travel across the country to do it. Look, in horse racing, in football, if you are the home team, it's about a 3-point advantage in the Vegas line maker's book. There's an advantage to being at home and walking over here to run your race.
There are a lot of storylines in today's card, Greg.
Grade 1, personal ensign coming up, and there is Songbird, 1-9 favorite. Last year, she wowed everyone when she came to the Spa with wins in the Coaching Club American Oaks and winning at 1.25 miles in the Grade 1 Alabama. 13 for 14 in her career, a two-time champion. Can she get better this afternoon? She did struggle in Delaware, but that was still a victory. But she's going to have a very tough test this afternoon. Her pilot, every step of the way, has been jockey Mike Smith. Of course, he'll team up with Bob Baffert on Dreyfong and West Coast later on in the card. But he's teaming up with Hall of Famer Jerry Hollendorfer here in the personal ensign. Let's go downstairs to Paul Aduca, who caught up with Mike Smith.
With Hall of Famer Mike Smith, and he's always coming back home when he comes to New York. But it seems like when you come back home here, you're winning a lot.
You know, I've been very blessed coming back, Paul, and I love doing well here. So, you know, we're coming, of course, with some very talented horses again as well, and we're hoping for a big day. I feel really good. I'm getting that feeling.
When we talk about Belmont Day was an amazing day with Bob, but we'll start with the filly first, and Jerry. Songbird decimating her competition at 3, not so much at 4. Explain why.
You know, coming off, again, layoffs, you know, that as they get older, you know, they get smarter about running. You know, I think she's realized she don't have to open up and win by 20 every time, but she gets the job done. So we can't take that away from her. Those are 2 Group 1s. The filly that she beat the first time come back and won by like 32, although it was a short field, she was very impressive. And the filly that was such a long shot in Delaware, she come back last week and just got beat in another stake race. So she's certainly legit. Again, in saying all that, though, she seems to get the job done no matter what. I'm happy to let her do whatever she wants to do as long as she comes first. And you know, today looking at the race, she's probably the speed of the race. I'm going to let her do what she does best, and that's run out of there. And hopefully she'll realize she's back at Saratoga and fire another big one, you know.
The other 3 Baffert runners you have going, obviously West Coast in the Travers, American Anthem, and the mishap with Dreyfong. How confident are you with all 3?
Starting with American Anthem, again, doing really well. And this middle distance is kind of, although I still believe in the back of my head that he can get 2 turns. How far 2 turns, I can't honestly tell you, but he'll get 1 mile. But this 7/8 seemed to hit him right between the eyes for whatever reason, and he's really liking it. So, I mean, if he just, you know, fires his Belmont race back, he's got to be, you know, double tough today. Dreyfong, the 7, if it was 3/4, I'd be really, really confident. The 7/8, at some point somewhere, I'm either going to have to steal away or get away with something because he didn't really get nothing out of that first race. You know, I come off him at the gap, but in saying that, his best race might have been here going 7/8. So it's kind of a little bit of both. You know, I mean, a little confident because he did run so well here, but knowing that you know, he could need a race today. But again, he's going to run. Bob's so good at getting these kind of horses ready, man. Trust me, he'll have them ready. And then I really like West Coast. I mean, I actually got to breeze him. I don't hardly get to breeze a lot of these horses, Paul, but I breezed him the time before last. And over that deep track at Delmar, man, he breezed sneaky good. I mean, like really, really good. So although it's probably the toughest competition he's ever run against, I look for him to jump back and run a big race.
Well, Bob is usually good at doing this, and so is this man. That's why he's a Hall of Famer, Greg.
Well, Mike Smith, he's pledged a percentage of his earnings to the Grayson Jockey Club Foundation this afternoon, funding research into equine health issues. Getting after it with Songbird coming up. This is a look at the field. It is a 4-horse group that Songbird will go up against. 2 for 2 here at Saratoga. Jerry Hollendorfer had mentioned she felt like she knew where she was when she came back here to the East Coast, and she should. 2 huge victories here last summer. With more on Songbird, let's go to the paddock with Maggie Wolfendale.
And Greg, let me tell you, Conor McGregor has nothing later on what Songbird looked like here walking into this Saratoga paddock. I mean, she looked like a prize fighter heading down to the ring for a fight in Las Vegas. As she pranced down the walkway here into the paddock, she was led by her typical pony that she gets here in Saratoga. And this filly has just that determination to get the job done. And you can see it in her pre-race antics that she just wants the fight. She wants to win. She looks very, very fit here. Now, she's even a little bit more tucked up than she was going back to her start 2 starts ago in the Ogden Phipps. So I like what I'm seeing from her. She's ultra fit here for a 3rd start of the season. A lot of times that can be their best start when they come back from layoffs here. So we'll see. Songbird, is she the goods, and can she keep things going? This champion filly for trainer Jerry Hollendorfer in today's Personal Ensign, guys.
Songbird 1-5 in the Grade 1 Personal Ensign in her return to Saratoga. Will be a celebration after the race. We'll find out shortly. There's the Hall of Famer Mike Smith putting his silks on, getting ready to roll. He's ridden some of the great fillies of all time. He has another one coming up.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. With his much-anticipated first foals hitting the ground this year, the sky is the limit for this promising young stallion, Lee, at Claiborne Farm.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Songbird is taken on now, and here comes Beholder in a confrontation of champions as they come toward the top of the stretch. I'm a chatterbox trying to cling to them. Stellar Wind's got work to do. Songbird and Beholder, and they're into the stretch, and here we go. Songbird set down. Beholder is alongside. Forever Unbridled is 2.5 lengths behind them. Furlong to run. Songbird, Beholder, they are nose to nose. This race living
That was one of the great finishes in Breeders' Cup history, certainly in Distaff history, and is the only thing that nose margin that has kept Songbird from perfection in her career. And right behind her in third, Forever Unbridled, who she's going to have to deal with today.
Yeah, and Forever Unbridled might have got the trip that day. I'm a Chatterbox sort of stung Songbird a little bit. Beholder was best because she was wide that day and was able to get the job done. But you're right. Forever Unbridled has the talent to get close to Songbird.
There is Songbird, and Jerry Hollendorfer, her trainer, has said she is matured. She's even bigger and stronger now, and she's willing to do anything the rider wants.
Yeah, when talking to Mike a little bit earlier, he's talking when he was saying that she's gotten intelligent, is that, listen, she's 13 for 14. She knows her job now, so I think she's taking it to the point where she knows just enough to get the job done. So today, look for her to be a little bit more impressive. He told me she's trained a little bit more forwardly going into this race.
She is not this year in her return face the likes of a filly like that right there, or mare, I should say, Forever Unbridled, who was brilliant in the Fleur-de-Lis.
Was brilliant, was very brilliant. First race since November, which is the Breeders' Cup Distaff, and it was impressive.
With more on Songbird, let's go to Gabby Gaudet.
Well, Songbird, she is fantastic, that is for sure. She actually arrived on Tuesday, though, and since then she obviously has acclimated well. Got in at about 2:25 in the afternoon. You can see her ears prick. She knows how to do it. She has definitely flown plenty of times in the past. Guys, she has 14 career starts, 5 different states, 7 different racetracks, and a total of 25,000 miles that she's logged. She's been to Pennsylvania, Delaware, obviously California. She's been back and forth from the West Coast to the East Coast several times. Her shortest trip was actually going into Kentucky, and, well, she makes another flight here to Saratoga Springs. No matter the distance, guys, Songbird keeps singing.
Well, that is a lot of miles to log. And no matter how good you are, at some point it can catch up to you. As a professional athlete, Paul, I want to ask you, people don't realize that who just watch these games or watch these stars perform. How difficult is that?
Well, it can be difficult. It's not like these horses are landing at 9 in the morning. They're landing at 3 in the morning.
Here's our post parade, and here is Songbird, 13 for 14 in her career. Owned by Fox Hill Farms, trained by the Hall of Famer Jerry Hollendorfer with Mike Smith aboard.
The dominant speed in this race, 2 for 2 this year, but may need to step it up to win this one. The horse to beat by a mile.
Going for broke, Waterford Stable sends this filly out, trained by Chad Brown. Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard.
She was behind Songbird in the Alabama in August, but she really needs to improve. Maybe the horse that can maybe put a little pace pressure on the 2.
Forever Unbridled, she was right behind Beholder and Songbird in that Breeders' Cup Distaff. Owned by Charles Fipke, trained by Dallas Stewart. Joel Rosario rides.
A serious rival to Songbird, but she must overcome a pace disadvantage.
Here's Eskin for Money, trained by Todd Pletcher, a 2-time winner of this race, owned by Star Ladies Racing, and Lisa Trout with Javier Castellano.
And she put blinkers on last time. She's run into a little winning machine over there at Monmouth. She's going to have to improve today. Although she's a lunch pail type of horse, she brings her A game every time. I don't know if it's good enough today.
She's a 2013 Keeneland September sales graduate. Big price at 10-1 on the board. The story, though, Songbird in her return here to Saratoga. And obviously, Paul, a massive pace edge in this field.
Massive pace edge. And, you know, in the Delaware handicap, it looks like she comes home slow. And I thought she just got the job done. I think we forget in the Ogden Phipps who she beat. Paid up subscriber, come back to win by a ton. The Delaware handicap, we saw this a little bit last week with the Alabama. It just doesn't look like they're cruising home. But listen, this Thistle Down shipper gave her all she can handle. Mike had to go to the left-hand whip. She's sort of been handled with care. And she got the job done. Now, does she win this race in stylish fashion? No, but the horse was never really going by her, and this is the way she wins most of her races. When she won the Ogden Phipps, she sort of won it a little bit better than this.
And Andy, Tom, I mean, these are horses that last year Songbird would have put away with no question. How much cause for concern that she wasn't able to go on with it?
Well, actually, I think that's an overstatement because I think the Forever Unbridled is one of the best fillies in the country last year and one of the best mares in the country this year. This is a serious challenge. The Delaware race wasn't a good one, and the horse that beat her came back to lose at Thistledown. Having said that, running her a 1.25 miles down there, they were doing something Tom, the owner, wanted to do, and you know something about doing that, and it probably wasn't what Jerry Hollendorfer would have preferred to do.
Let's talk about that distance, 1.25 miles. Songbird did it once last year in the Alabama, and she put away her competition in probably the first 6 furlongs of that race. She wasn't able to do it this time going 1.25 miles, but using her speed is how she wins. She's so brilliantly quick and can carry it. I think that that's just a problem with the 1.25 miles. We're going back to 1.1 1/8 today. I'm not worried about Songbird. She shows up today.
We'll see if she does, and if she does, she'll be tough to beat. But she has a serious rival in Forever Unbridled, who won very, very easily despite not being cranked up to win her last start. And she was a solid third in a moderately paced Breeders' Cup distaff. Songbird did get away with pace, but she's going to face much less pace today, so it's going to be even harder today. But I believe in this horse.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this was really nice. Joel Rosario does not move a muscle. Very confidently handled. Now, the horse in front of her that day, he had to ask her right here because that one's starting to get away. But there's just no doubt. This horse is circling the field, getting the job done very easy here. I just don't love that she swaps off to a wrong lead there late, but she does it professionally. The worry is, can she really catch Songbird? When you look at her other race, she's been beaten by Comforting. She's been beaten by a couple others. Now, everybody wants to point to Songbird's last race when she beat Martini Glass, a horse from Thistle Downs. And this speaks to what Mike Smith is saying. What about her Ogden Phipps win? No one wants to give her credit. Paid up subscriber, came back to win by 32 lengths. I get it was a Chuvy in 3-horse field. Karina Mia, we're going to see today, won, got a chance to win. Verve's Tale, won. Factory of Faith, won. Bar of Gold, won. How big of a field? You're going to criticize her for her last field. Why not give her credit for the Ogden Phipps?
2-5 on Songbird. Let's go to Gabby.
Thanks, Greg, and standing with the fabulous Phillies owner, Mr. Rick Porter. And first and foremost, Rick, from all of us at Saratoga Live, wanted to extend our sincerest congratulations for the recent news in becoming cancer-free. You weren't able to witness her excellence last summer. How special is it to get her to see her live in the flesh today for the personal incident?
You know, it's the best. Not only did I get good news, particularly for my family and other people with my disease, but being able to come up here knowing I'm, in full remission makes the race even. But I'd have been here anyway, somehow, some way. But I'm really looking forward to the race today.
How does Songbird inspire you? She's been all over the country, and each and every single time she just continues to show up.
Well, she's just a special horse. I mean, a lot of times she doesn't run the fastest times or the best numbers, but she doesn't like anybody to pass her. And Beholder just got a head bob on us. But she's just the most exciting horse I've ever had, and as you know, I've had been lucky enough to have a few good ones.
Well, best of luck here, Rick.
Well, thanks very much.
All right, well, Songbird, she definitely doesn't like to be passed, and she looks like she'll be the front runner in here as we head out to Maggie.
And Gabby, that's exactly it. She is a filly who is on go as soon as she knows she's ready for a race. I mean, she came out here. She's been on her toes since she set foot on the track here. But, there's some nice fillies in here. Obviously, we've touched on Forever Unbridled, and I like what I see from her. She looks much the same as she did going back to her campaign around here in New York last year. So I know she only has the one start here of 2017, but I seriously do not think that she looks as though she's missed that much time in racing. Now, number 3 is Going for Broke. She's a filly that Chad Brown gave a prep to last time out in the Shine Again, but she's a filly crying out for more ground. She gets to go the 1 1/8 here. She looks tighter with that race under her belt, and she almost won going the 7/8, which is a distance that she isn't that effective at. So I think Going for Broke might have a little say in this personal instant as well. Greg?
Maggie, thank you. 7-1 on Chad Brown in a stakes race at Saratoga. You don't see that often, but you don't see talent like this assembled that often either.
Yeah, we're going to see Karina Mia in the next race in the Ballerina. Going for Broke got beat by her stablemate. She was on the inside. She had a good trip. Karina Mia just outrun her. And there you take a look at the champion trainer of last year's meet here, Chad Brown, and is only one race behind Todd Pletcher for that lead. So they're battling out, and that division, but Songbird going to be tough in here, and I don't know if going for broke has got to make up 7 lengths from last year on her today.
We saw Gabby talk with Rick Porter, the owner of Songbird. This filly has been so special to him, really has lifted his spirits as he is now in remission and cancer-free. As you look at Songbird's Hall of Fame trainer, Jerry Hollendorfer, was asked about what went wrong at Delaware. Rick Porter had said she got a little bit overheated. He had never seen her like that before. Even after she was huffing and puffing, she was sweating. Let's not forget she gave 8 pounds as well on a track that was very deep that day. So we'll see if she can provide better this afternoon, guys, as we look at Songbird. Back to where she performed so brilliantly last year. I think everyone's expecting more fireworks from her.
We'll see. You know, she's going to have things her own way on the front end, and she's a terrific horse. I think Paul's acting like she's got an inferiority complex. I don't think the whole world is down on her this year, but she has such lofty standards that people are a little disappointed in what they've seen, but she has won both her starts, Tom.
Yeah, she has indeed. And her main competition, the 4 we're looking at right there, Forever Unbridled, needs to have pace to run at. If she doesn't get that from Songbird and at least someone else to push Songbird early, it compromises her chances greatly. There's Dallas Stewart right there. You can believe he's a little nervous. What about this 3-horse maybe pushing Songbird early coming off a 1-turn race?
I doubt that happens. Just quickly, I want to say, Joel Rosario rode a horse that we talked about on last week's show, Governor Malibu, in a similar situation against Diversify, and at least he rode her to give her him a chance to run him down. I think he'll do the same thing today. I actually think going for broke is better going shorter. I think that she's able to be somewhat successful going longer because they were the right spots, but I like her going shorter.
We look at the 3 right there, going for broke. I think she sends. I think this horse gets sent and challenges Songbird early and goes for broke.
So there's a look at Chad Brown going for broke. The 3 filly in here on the board at 6-1. Of course, he has so many big-time contenders still to come later in the card, including cloud computing later in the Travers race that he has said even more than the Kentucky Derby he wants to win. Of course, he'll have the Preakness winner in that race coming up. But for Songbird, look, Andy said no one's knocking a 2-time champion, but you have to be concerned with the fact that she did not run away from horses she usually does in that Delaware handicap last start.
And again, the owners wanted to go there, not the trainer.
Songbird looking for her 10th Grade 1 win of her career. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the call. Here's Larry Colmus.
Ready for the start. They're off in the Personal Ensign, and Songbird broke like a rocket. Mike Smith and Songbird immediately to the early lead, and going for broke is right to her neck as they move for that first turn. Asking for Money will settle into stride. Third early on, Forever Unbridled takes her spot at the back of the pack. So it is Songbird, and she's in the clear here. She's going to have a 2-length lead through this first quarter mile. Going for broke in Arad Ortiz Jr. sitting just off of her after a 24.14 reasonable opening quarter mile. Asking for Money's 4.5 lengths behind, and Forever Unbridled is 7 lengths behind Songbird, who heads up the backstretch with a 2.5 length lead. So the champion filly heading out there 3 lengths ahead here of Going for Broke. The first half mile, 47.91 seconds. An easy gallop for Songbird. Asking for Money moves up on the inside of Going for Broke now, and Forever Unbridled still on hold at the back with a half mile to go. Songbird heads into the far turn here in the Personal Ensign with a 2.5 length lead. Going for Broke continues to race in second. Asking for Money clings to her, and Forever Unbridled is still last. She has not been let loose yet, and she is going strongly. She's coming 3 wide here. So 3/4 is up in 112.29, and they're coming to the top of the stretch. And Mike Smith and Songbird turn for home in front. Forever Unbridled is coming down the center of the racetrack. On the inside, Asking for Money, running a big one too. Songbird with a 60th to go. Forever Unbridled runs at her. Songbird inside. Forever Unbridled on the outside. A dramatic finish. Forever Unbridled has defeated Songbird in the Personal Ensign. Asking for Money was third. Going for Broke was fourth, and a final time of 149.16. Forever Unbridled did it.
That was a look at Dallas Stewart, hugs all around, and forever unbridled to run down a two-time champion filly when she had everything her own way alone on the front end. That is a huge performance.
Yeah, look at Dallas Stewart in absolute, I don't know if he's in shock, but I think he knew that this horse was live today. Joel Rosario just looming up. And you could see Mike Smith took a peek to his inside, then took a peek to his outside. Joel stayed in the middle of the racetrack, and maybe he did this by design to try to get Songbird to not look him in the eye and to go right on by, and that's what happened.
Decisive victory. Songbird had everything her own way in the front end, and we talked about it during the race, Tom. Joel Rosario was riding forever unbridled like he thought he couldn't lose.
Tremendously confident ride by Joel Rosario. They weren't going that quick down the backside. He was sitting on forever unbridled, not moving a muscle. You knew Songbird was getting what she wanted. Mike Smith's hands against the bridle were way down by his knees. That's a sign of how relaxed Songbird was, getting to do it her way. Simply put, she got outrun on her own terms.
She got outrun, but she didn't stop. If you look at the fractions, you know, this horse came home in like 12 and change, and you're right, she just got outrun, and these two fillies are nice.
Forever Unbridled wins the personal ensign. Let's go to Maggie on horseback with Mike.
Yeah, here with Mike Smith. I hate talking to you like this, Mike, but the champion Songbird, was it a factor of her not seeing Forever Unbridled? Joel Rosario kept her far away from Songbird.
Great move on his part. I really have to take my hat off to him. He rode a tremendous race. Might have dug in a little more if he was closer to me, but you know, again, maybe I should have come out to him as well. But to be honest with you, she ran hard. When I asked her heading for home, she kicked away. And I was hoping not to have to get after her because she don't really care for the stick all that much, but I had to try a little bit and see what would happen. And he just beat me today. My hat's off to him.
Is there any difference in her? Do you think she's just not quite the same filly she was as a 3-year-old?
Well, her numbers are the same. Maybe these mares are just getting better.
And it's always tougher when you're facing older fillies and mares. You know, there's 5-year-olds in here, and she's only on her third start as a 4-year-old. But, Mike, do you keep going with her? Do you think Mr. Hollendorfer will pursue?
That's up to him. I can't tell you any of that. She's certainly sound. She's doing well.
Well, Mike, in defeat, she still ran a great one.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Oh, very gracious Mike Smith there to give us that interview. Has to be so disappointed. He's been through this before, obviously. There was more on the line when he had that first defeat of his career with Zenyatta when she lost in the Breeders' Cup Classic to blame, but this one has to sting a little bit as well.
Yeah, it stings a little bit. You got to give credit to Dallas Stewart. This horse has run one race since the Breeders' Cup. One. You know, Songbird had a couple races on her. She beat her on the square. Songbird had everything her own way. She just got the job done. And Joel did a great job staying off Songbird, because if you go back, you look at the distaff, when Beholder came up to her, Songbird responded. Today, Songbird just couldn't respond to the big mare by Unbridled Song.
There's Mike Smith talking it over with Jerry Hollendorfer, and they'll go back to the drawing board with Songbird after defeat here in the personal ensign. Graded stakes action continues. Grade 1 after grade 1. Coming up next, it is the Ballerina and Chad Brown sending out last year's favorite in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint, and another who could be this year's favorite, Karina Mia and Paula's Silver Line. What a potent 1-2 punch for last year's champion trainer, Chad Brown, coming up in the Grade 1 Ballerina. Stay tuned.
Summer of Dreams 4 is back at Foxwoods, and we've got guaranteed millions in cash and prizes up for grabs. Sign up free for Foxwoods Rewards and earn points playing our World Series of Poker and the Big Dream Slot Tournament with Mario Lopez. Also, try our new skill-based slots. Then, use your points for summer wonders like Lobster Madness, golf at the Lake of Isles, and shop the region's only indoor Tanger outlets. Foxwoods Resort Casino, the wonder of it all. Find your wonder now at foxwoods.com.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Travers Day, an absolutely packed house. The Grade 1 personal ensign in the books. And the great Songbird, two-time champion filly, defeated here in a brilliant performance from Forever Unbridled, who has come back as a 5-year-old, now a perfect 2 for 2. Joel Rosario aboard for Charles Fipke and trained by the man standing by with Gabby.
Thanks, Greg, and congratulations with Forever Unbridled. What a performance. We didn't know if she could catch the likes of Songbird today, but she definitely did so. What was going through your mind at the top of the stretch when Joel just looked absolutely loaded?
Yeah, he was loaded, and he was just sitting back there, and he made that big run. He was a little bit wide. I don't know what that was about, but he was very confident, and he beat a great horse, Songbird. She's a champion, you know. And Mr. Fipke, what can I say? He bred her. He's got the mother, the sisters, and he's just unbelievable in his breeding.
Absolutely.
Picked out the mother, hey, the one, the Kentucky Oaks. but we're just so honored because what can I say?
The horse like Songbird.
Yeah, Songbird is a wonderful horse. She's a wonderful horse, and we're just really lucky today, and it's a team effort, hey, team effort.
It absolutely is, but she is a mare that just continues to improve. But talking about Joel Rosario's ride, Dallas, was he riding to instructions when he went that wide and tried to keep out of sight of Songbird, or was that just his plan going in?
I don't know. You'll have to ask him. He was out there. Maybe he thinks that's the best part of the track, but he did a great job. He won it. That's all that counts.
Well, congratulations to you both. Have a phenomenal mare in your hands.
Thank you.
All right, Greg.
Well, what a win, not just to collect a Grade 1 here, that's such an important race at Saratoga, but to do it against the likes of Songbird. Sensational, and I believe we've just seen now our Breeders' Cup Distaff favorite.
I would think so. Yeah, you know, home court advantage, Tom talked about it a little bit, and Songbird will have it, even though she's shipped well, but man, this mare is getting better and better, and the distance is getting better, and maybe she tipped her hand with the way she was working at Churchill Downs. Congratulations. It's pretty cool to see a guy like Mr. Fipke, who's been in this game that long, get choked up.
We continue along with more Grade 1 action. The Grade 1 Ballerina, the Kettle One Ballerina here at 7/8 is next. It is Paula's Silver Lining, who was third in last year's Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint, used to be trained by Michelle Nevin, now with trainer Chad Brown, and she is undefeated since she's come back as a 5-year-old.
You talk about grit. This mare has grit. She won the Madison at Keeneland, where she was passed by a neck. She won the Humana Distaff when she was passed by Finest City, or almost passed, and then she came back and won the Honorable Miss. She is full of game, and she outfinished Finley's Lucky Charm, who is a tough customer. She is definitely the one to beat.
Well, this could begin a big day in graded stakes races for 7-time champion trainer Todd Pletcher. He'll send out Distinta, and here's 9-1 on the board, but he has some big chances still to come. Of course, Cole Front in the Alan Jerkins undefeated 3-year-old sprinter, Kentucky Derby winner Always Dreaming, and Belmont winner Taproot, I should say, both going postward in the Travers. It's been quite a career for Todd Pletcher. He has done it all, accomplished almost everything you could hope for. Here's another edition of I Am.
I am Todd Pletcher.
Always Dreaming has won the Kentucky Derby.
And a second Kentucky Derby for Todd Pletcher.
I am a trainer. I thought I was smart enough that I didn't need to go to college, that I, you know, at that age, I was eager to get going and wanted to get into the horse business, and it was really my parents that influenced me to perspectives. But, you know, going to the University of Arizona and being in the racetrack industry program, I think I saw a different side. A lot of that's dealing with the front side management and parimutuel departments and things like that, that on the backside you know it's happening, but you don't really know the details of it. So it was helpful, and I think just from a perspective of maturing, getting a little older, and you know, once I was finished with college, I was ready to go to work.
Jersey Girl holds on. More Than Ready, sprinting today, 7 furlongs and 122 and 2.
I think I always feel like More Than Ready and Jersey Girl were kind of the two horses that really helped me get going.
Super Saver Calvin Burrell, 1 furlong for the Derby here.
Super Savers Derby win was probably a little different for me because at that point I think our 0 for streak was whatever it was, and so it was almost like a relief.
But it's Super Saver and Calvin Burrell, the unflappable Calvin Burrell, riding that rail to victory once again in the Kentucky Derby.
The coolest thing about winning the Derby for me was for my parents to be there to see it. That made it extra special. I was pretty excited, you know, and then just the emotions that go through your mind in 2.5 minutes, you know, that race from the stumble at the start.
And they're off. Oh, and the filly bobbled at the break. Rags to riches, stumbled coming out of there.
My first thought was, man, we made the wrong decision.
These two in a battle of the sexes in the Belmont Stakes.
I think of all the races that I've been in, I've had more people come up to me and tell me how excited they were watching that race.
They're coming down to the wire. It's going to be very close, and it's going to be a filly in the Belmont.
You know, I think even in retrospect now, when you look back at it, that she was able to beat Curlin, who's a 2-time Horse of the Year, and I'm thinking that pretty soon the Hall of Fame needs to recognize that. I'm a little bit frustrated she hasn't been inducted already. My younger son Kyle's looking more into the engineering type stuff, and my daughter Hannah, she's going to be a freshman in high school. She likes the industry, and there might be something for her, although not backside related. My oldest son Peyton's going to Texas A&M this fall, and he's going to be animal science major in the equine program there. So I'm trying to talk him into maybe going to vet school, but he likes this industry as well, so we'll see how it plays out.
Todd Pletcher, we have three Grade 1s to come. He's going to be involved in all of them, starting with Distinta. Coming up here in the Grade 1 Ballerina. We'll talk more about this field when we return post-parade. Coming up right after this on Saratoga Live.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish. From a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before. Back on Saratoga Live on Travers Day. They call it the Midsummer Derby. We have a lot of Midsummer Championships here coming up on a tremendous day of action. 3 more Grade 1s to come. Great time to get signed up and started and play along as you watch here on Saratoga Live with Naira Bets. If you bet 200, you will get 200 in your account if you use the promo code PICK5. Get signed up and started with Naira Bets all across the country. If you're a member, well, the Travers field absolutely stacked with talent. And if you're playing with Naira Bets, you can win more on your Travers trifecta. Hit the trifecta on your mobile device in the Travers. Earn a 10% winner's bonus. See the official details at NairaBets.com. There's early betting, by the way, on the Travers. There's over $400,000 wagered already. And Kentucky Derby winner Always Dreaming right now is your 2-to-1 favorite for the Travers.
I'm surprised. I really am. I thought Tappert would take more money. Reportedly been working a lot better. The surprising thing, cloud computing, 15-to-1.
Favorite right now for the Grade 1 ballerina, Paula's Silver Lining, one of 2 in this race for Chad Brown. Let's head down to the paddock right now with Maggie.
Greg, thanks for this ballerina. We'll check in with one of the Florida Invaders, and it's a good thing I have Gabby Gaudet here in the paddock with me as well in regards to number 2, Curlin's Approval, as she said that sometimes when she saw her during the wintertime down at Gulfstream Park, she was a bit on the obstreperous side to saddle. Well, today, shipping into Saratoga with all the fanfare, she's accompanied by her pony, which she typically is, and she's calm, cool, and collected. She looks great. Looks as though she handled this ship well. So she was pretty impressive. She looked visually very stunning in that win in the Princess Rooney. Moving on to number 5, Karina Mia, the other Chad Brown horse in here. Love Paula's Silver Lining, but for me, Karina Mia has taken the proverbial step forward off of that effort in the Shine again. She's bulked up. She's put on more muscle mass. I think that's a good sign. Moving on to number 7, Highway Star. She's my favorite blue-collar, overachieving New York bred that we have running right now, and she looks tremendous. Besides her effort in the Ogden Phipps, which is a 1-term out in the 16th, she was undefeated around 1 term prior to that. So the 7/8 here at Saratoga fits her down to a T. She is one that's a price that I'm definitely going to use here, Greg.
Maggie, thank you. 9-2 right there on a Highway Star. Well, pace is certainly an intriguing story in this race because, Andy, Tom, it doesn't seem like anybody wants to go to the lead in this race.
It's a great question, Greg, and we've been talking about it, Tom. One of the reasons I like the 2 Curlin's Approval is I just think this horse might be sent to the lead, but it's murky.
When you look at her past performance, particularly her works, rarely will you see horses work 3/8 of a mile and very, very quick, as they did with Curlin's Approval in her last work at Gulfstream. 33-4 is a very fast 3/8 work. That is an indication that they're trying to put speed into this mare.
Yeah, and she was impressive last time. But let me ask you, we talked about shipping before, and it's a factor, but we talked about cross-country or across the ocean. How about coming up from Florida in the summer to come to New York?
I think the Florida horses have done well throughout the meet here. I don't hold that against Curlin's Approval, the 2 horse. You're watching her finish here, and she draws off from this group the last 1/8 of a mile. This is a good performance.
The other horse who could be in front here is the 4 By the Moon with Rajiv Mirage. Now, she's done okay at 7 furlongs before. Do you think maybe she's the one that's aggressive that goes to the front?
I don't. She laid off the pace in her last start against Paula's Silver Lining. When you watch the finish of that race, she was probably gaining the most at the end. She's going to get another 1/8 of a mile today, going 7/8 of a mile by the Moon. The 4-horse will, and I think that's advantageous to her to keep her style, to sit a little bit off the pace. Look, I think the 3, Paula's Silver Lining, has got no choice but to be the horse that's going to make the lead. And here's the problem. Paula's Silver Lining, the 3-horse, who is our favorite, likes a target to run at. But today, she's the target.
No, I was just going to ask you that same question. Last time out, there was a defined speed horse in the race, and we're talking about the 3, Paula's Silver Lining. And she got to sit off that horse at target, but stay close because it kept the pace slow. Today, it's kind of a different story. Maybe it's ideal for her if the 2 goes and she can sit off that one.
I think she'd like to sit off the 2. I'm not so sure that's the way it's going to work out.
Chad Brown is another runner in this race as well in the 5, Karina Mia. Can she step it up? She ran well in this race. A disappointment last year because she was even money, but she ran well in her last race. Paul, what do you think about Karina Mia? Can she step up in her second start for Chad?
Well, she's another horse, too, right, that she's shown some speed in the past, and she's better off laying off horse. She's been beaten by Paula's Silver Lining before. I mean, she was good in the shine again. We just knew on the cutback she was the horse to beat. She got a good trip. I think she's going to prove a lot more in here. Where does she sit? A lot of these horses have the same running styles. You can see to the inside that was going for Broke, who just ran in the last race trying her heart out, but just no match. Karina Mia gets that draw. She's faster than the 6. She's faster than the 7 early. She probably gets that really good draw to see what happens between the 2, 3, and 4. I'm in agreement with the guys downstairs. I like By the Moon because I'm hoping Rajiv sends. But one of those 3 horses or one of those 3 mares is going to get to the lead. Karina Mia might be sitting in that garden spot.
Could get a perfect trip. She's 9-2 on the board right now. 1 of 2 in here for Chad Brown. Again, in both his fillies. Remember, used to be with different trainers. For Paula Silver Lining, though, Paulie, she has come back as a 5-year-old, and she's just been better in a different mare.
She's a horse that, like I said earlier, grit. If you look up grit in the dictionary for a horse, it's Paula Silverline. Her last 3 wins have been an all heart. 2 of those races look like she was dead beat.
Grade 1 action continues here on Saratoga Live with the Kettle One Ballerina with a purse of $500,000. We start our post parade with long shot Bird at the Wire, 2013 Keeneland January sales grad sent out by Forum Racing with Manny Franco for Tom Proctor.
Adding blinkers in hopes of probably trying to be a little closer to the pace. She's got her work cut out for her.
Happy Altar and Bridalwood Farm send out Curlin's approval. Louis Saez aboard.
If she repeats her last effort, a victory at Gulfstream Park in the Princess Rooney, they may never catch her.
3rd in last year's Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint. Here is Paula's Silver Lining for Juddmonte Farms. Jose Ortiz for Chad Brown.
Undefeated in 3 starts this year. She has been facing the best of her division, and she is the one to beat.
Used to be in the barn of Michelle Nevin, Paula Silver Lining. She does have By the Moon, trained by JMS Stable. Rajiv Mirage aboard.
Could be the speed of this race. If they send her, she may be able to control on the front end.
Karina Mia, 2014 Keeneland September sales graduate. Another Chad Brown runner here for 3 Chimneys Farm with Javier Castellano.
Yeah, she's at her preferred distance today. She likes this. She gets Javier Castellano for the 2nd time. On her the 1st time. He won on her. I think they like that combination.
Todd Pletcher sends out Distinta, 2012 Keeneland November sales graduate. John Velasquez aboard.
Off a private purchase and trainer change to Todd Pletcher, this field is so deep that even with that trainer change, she's 9-1.
And Rodrigo Yabillo sends out Highway Star for Chester and Mary Broman with Angel Arroyo aboard.
She's undefeated at this distance. A New York bred will try to take on the best right now.
With more on the Grade 1 Ballerina, let's go to Gabby.
Thank you, guys. Happy standing with me right now. Happy, I know you got to get going to watch your filly, but she's obviously had limited starts and shipping to other places and kind of a quirky filly in the past. How is she shipped here?
Fine. We flew her to Newark and then vanded her from Newark here, and she's fine.
Previously, when she was starting to get going down at Gulfstream, I can remember us talking and you saying she's going to be a Grade 1 winner. How does it feel to be at least on the stage in a Grade 1 today?
Your memory is as good as your looks. I think that she's going to run very good today, and I think that she belongs with these fillies, and I respect them. But I think you're going to see me back in the winner's circle.
All right, well, that's Happy Altar, guys. He's running to watch his filly run here.
And can you blame him? A very confident Happy Altar, and she is coming off Curlin's approval, the 2 of the most dominant performance of her career. That was in the Grade 2 Princess Rooney. We're going to take a break in the action. We'll be back with a Grade 1 Ballerina next.
Visit the new Rivers Casino and Resort, the Capital Region's only destination for live table game action and where the hottest new slots are paying out millions. Sign up for Rush Rewards and play up to $500 in slots on us. Plus, we'll double any casino offer and match your tier. Rivers Casino and Resort.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live. Good to have you with us here on Travers Day, one of the great days in racing of the entire calendar year. Grade 1 action continues here with the ballerina for fillies and mares. Chad Brown, last year's champion trainer, sending out 2 in the race, including the current favorite. And there she is, Paula's Silver Lining, who is coming off 3 consecutive victories, including the first 2 Grade 1 wins of her career.
It was a really good race in the Honorable Miss last time out. Her and Finley's Lucky Charm, who controlled most of the race from the outside. And then they sort of scooted home, and it was a really good horse race, along with By the Moon trying to roll up at 30. You see the 4 there, but Paula Silver Lining, the one to beat. She looks well on the racetrack. Jose Ortiz warming it up off the pony. And here it is right here. And when you look at the race, it's Paula Silver Lining and By the Moon. Now, to the inside of Paula Silver Lining is Finley's Lucky Charm, a horse that came in from Churchill Downs that was very sharp. Brian Hernandez decided not to open up early and set sort of moderate fractions. And I think it hurt By the Moon a little bit. But this is what I talk about Paula Silver Lining. She's just not going to let you beat her. And she ends up victorious at the end.
Guys, she doesn't win by a lot, but she keeps on winning, at least this year. What'd you make of that last performance?
Well, I think it was a great job by Jose Ortiz, to be honest, because he realized that Brian Hernandez was not going to use the Finley's Lucky Charm speed to his advantage. And in doing so, it allowed him to put the winner into the race and give her an advantage, Tom.
But you learned clearly what Paula Silver Lining likes to do. She actually made the lead on Finley's Lucky Charm at the head of the lane and then waited. Finley's Lucky Charm came back, got ahead of her, and then Paula went and challenged her again. And that's the problem with this race today. I don't see Paula Silver Lining having that target. And if she doesn't have that target and she gets in front, she's going to be waiting on competition. She's the best horse in the race, but she does like to fight with somebody.
Meanwhile, Karina Mia, she was the Acorn winner from last year. She has one here at Saratoga. This is the other Chad Brown filly.
Yeah, and a horse that's been behind Paula Silver Lining in the Humana Distaff. Got quality, guys. You know, Chad, very good with these horses, and he's even more deadly when he has them for one start.
And I think it's important to point out that she ran in this race last year as a 3-year-old. I mean, she wasn't going to run against Songbird at 1.25 miles, so they opted for this spot. And while she was a little overbet at even money, she ran very, very well that day in finishing a close 3rd.
Again, she was the favorite in last year's Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint. She comes back. She used to be again with Bill Mott. Now she's with Chad Brown. He got her into the winner's circle here at 7/8 in the shine again. This is a look at Bird at the Wire. Big price at 18-1. Let's go to Maggie for more.
Well, Greg, you know me, I don't like to talk anybody off taking a big price like that. But Bird at the Wire, she has blinkers on today, and it's not a typical pair of blinkers. It's that extension blinker covering her right eye. Now, she's also down on the rail, and I find it intriguing that she can't see out of her right eye, but she can see everything to her inside, and she's going to have to clear the chute. So is there, kind of a concern that she might run towards that open space? We'll find out. And like I said, I never like to see horses with that equipment added, for the first time in a big race like this. Number 4 is By the Moon, and she narrowly was defeated last year in this ballerina, though she looked much, not the best, but she certainly looked good that last year. Today, she's gotten a little hot, a little washy, and just a little too revved up for my liking. So I love the distance for her. She's just not quite the same filly that she was a year to this day. Greg?
Maggie, thanks. Yeah, she narrowly missed, of course, in this race last year, too. Maggie's husband, Tom Morley, would have you gone away.
And you're taking a look at Karina Mia, minding her business. She's very, very professional. Winner by a neck in the Shine again. Second start in the Chad Brown barn. And to get to the outside horse, Highway Star, a lot of money on this New York bred. There wasn't a race on New York bred day for her to run in. They chose this spot getting bet. And there you see Mr. Brown. Got 2 big shots in here.
Right now, it is his world. He's winning every race, seemingly. And, of course, it's Saratoga. Won his first training title here last year, having grown up just outside of here in Mechanicville. He was dominant last year. He's been dominant again this year. And your reigning Eclipse Award-winning trainer has 2 in this race and a lot more ammunition still to come as you look at Happy Alter, who, Paul, he was so confident about Curlin's approval here.
He said he was going to watch the TV to watch his horse win.
Grade 1 ballerina, Paula Silver Lining and Karina Mia for trainer Chad Brown. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York racing for the call, Larry Colmus.
Karina Mia takes her spot in the starting gate, waiting for Distinta and Highway Star to complete the line here. 2-1 on Paula's Silver Lining. Distinta's in. Here's Highway Star. Goes in. They're all in line. They're off, and the Kettle One Ballerina. Paula Silver Lining and By the Moon had good beginnings. Highway Star on the outside, flashing early foot to Curlin's approval, taken back in hand to sit off of them, 4th on the inside. Karina Mia's alongside of her, then Distinta to the outside, and the trailer is Bird at the Wire. Heading up the backstretch, By the Moon in front. Highway Star 3/4 of a length behind. Second on the outside, then Paula's Silver Lining inside of Curlin's approval. The first quarter was so slow, 24.05 seconds. Distinta is 5th on the outside, only 2 lengths off the lead. Then Karina Mia and Bird at the Wire. So they're racing for the far turn here. And By the Moon is the leader. Highway Star is a neck back on the outside, second. And then comes Paula Silver Lining. She's just a length and a half behind them. Curlin's approval has dropped out of contention. The half is 47.81 seconds. By the Moon coming to the quarter pole in front. Highway Star on the outside, second. Paula's Silver Lining angles right behind them to the outside. Karina Mia's closing down the center of the track, coming by the 8th pole. By the Moon and Highway Star locked in battle with 1 furlong to run. Karina Mia's coming to them on the outside. By the Moon, Highway Star. Karina Mia just can't get there. By the Moon, Highway Star down to the wire, together in the ballerina. By the Moon beats Highway Star on the wire. Then Karina Mia and Bird at the Wire in 1:22.97.
By the Moon and Michelle Nevin get revenge on the horse that used to be in Michelle Nevin's barn, who beat By the Moon last time out.
And great to see Rajiv Mirage get a Grade 1 win up here. He's been struggling, and he gave a great ride. There were a lot of riders going to have to answer for their rides here, but not the first 2 finishers. As we said, Tom, pace makes the race.
How about an opening quarter in 24 and a big-time sprint for the best fillies and mares in the country? The race was over at that point, and as far as Paula Silver Lining is concerned, she could have pressed the pace from the inside with Jose Ortiz. She chose not to. It was a big mistake from the rider.
Yeah, you make a great point, Tom, because I'll tell you what, when Rajiv broke out of the gate, he peeked to the inside a little bit, playing a little possum with Jose Ortiz. Are you going to go or not? He made the decision. And Andy, you talk about the smart money. How about the smart money on the 7 here? This horse, New York bred, just ran her eyeballs out.
It was almost 2 years in a row that a New York bred won this race. Nice to see Highway Star run well. Great ride on the first and second finishers. Others, not so much.
4-7-5-1. It's By the Moon with the win. Let's go to Maggie.
And a pumped out Regime Mirage. And Raj, what were the other riders thinking? 24 and change in a 7/8 grade 1?
Well, I was just really happy that my filly can adapt. Yeah. And I thought that there was a chance it might be a slow pace, not a true dominant speed horse. Right. So like Michelle and I talked about, I'm not going to give up anything that comes easy. And I might take advantage of that scenario. And it worked out perfect. Going on the backstretch, we were going along real easily. And this filly is such a good filly. If you give her that advantage, it's going to be difficult to beat her.
You know, in hindsight, she was really revved up today. And it seems as though Michelle had it in her mind when she saw this race drawn up that she was going to fine-tune her and make her get to the lead.
Well, she's just a competitive-natured filly. She always comes over revved up. And if you don't know her, you think that she's getting too hot. But I'd be more concerned if she wasn't like that because she's just always got her game face on, comes over to the paddock really strong. And I'm just so glad she broke well and we took advantage of that scenario.
And Raj, you've taken advantage of getting on her this year. She's done very well, and it was nice to get revenge on last year. She was just a narrow defeated in the ballerina. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, guys, Regime Mirage all smiles here on the track for the ballerina and By the Moon.
What a ride it's been for Regime Mirage as well. Remember with Irish Warcry, won the Wood Memorial. He was out for such a long time with an injury. His career was in jeopardy, but he has come back. He has been brilliant as you look at winning trainer Michelle Nevin. And this has to feel so good for Michelle Nevin as well. Remember, she used to train Paula Silverlining. That horse moved to Chad Brown's barn. Beat By the Moon last time out, now she gets revenge.
Yeah, you make a good point about Regime Mirage and Michelle. They've been a great team, and there is Michelle. She's on the phone, probably talking to a lot of people, and her phone's probably blowing up. But Regime Mirage, for a lot of people that don't know, he didn't ride for close to a year because of injuries, and he even told me that I didn't know if I was going to get back on the horse. I was determined to. This is a great moment for him.
So By the Moon, 7 wins now from 19 career starts, picks up the second win here at Saratoga, and there's nothing like winning a grade 1 here at the premier meet in the entire country.
Listen, when you have races that are over 150 years old, the tradition never ends. And when you win races here at Saratoga, you get smiles on your face like that.
Still to come, it is the grade 1 Alan Jerkins in undefeated Coal Front, putting his perfect record on the line for trainer Todd Pletcher. It's a head-to-head showdown with Bob Baffert's American Anthem coming in from the West Coast. Can Coal Front, the Amsterdam winner, go back-to-back here at Saratoga? We'll find out next.
How do I see New York bred performance? Like this.
Disco.
Here's New York sire Disco Partner setting a new world record in the Jaipur.
Holy mackerel!
And they perform like multiple grade 1 winner Mind Your Biscuits.
And he's pouring it on late.
Shown here, winning the Belmont Sprint Championship. And New York breds perform in the sales ring, where this filly sold for $750,000. Look for your registered New York performer at upcoming auctions.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb has emerged as one of the nation's most promising young stallions. The leading freshman sales sire of weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds, his first runners are off to a fast start. His debut winners have dazzled on the track, scoring on both dirt and turf. In the sales ring, his yearlings continue to command top prices, including the $1 million co-sale topper at Saratoga. Outstanding value, outstanding results, or standing at Claiborne Farm.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live, and the winner of the Kettle One Ballerina, it is By the Moon. For trainer Michelle Nevin, JMS Stable, and Rajiv Mirage returning $13 for the win. Huge effort in defeat from Highway Star and Karina Mia. Again, the favorite in last year's Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. Completing that trifecta, let's go downstairs to Gabby for more.
Well, Greg, By the Moon gave Michelle her first Grade 1 win in the Frizette. Now she gives her second Grade 1 win here. Michelle, what a tremendous performance. What were your thoughts with her coming down the lane? Obviously a beautiful ride by Rajiv Mirage, too.
I just love her so much, and she's been training so good. I was like, oh, my God, she just keeps, you know, helping me. And, I just appreciate her and Sam so much. It's unbelievable, you know. The 2 Grade 1s I've ever won with the same filly. It's awesome.
Quite an emotional victory, though, to get a Grade 1 here at Saratoga.
Oh, God, yeah. It's so hard to win any kind of race here. You know, to get a Grade 1 is just like made my year.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, Michelle. A phenomenal filly here.
Thank you.
All right, Greg. She did it again. Another Grade 1 win to the resume.
I think the resume's already been updated at this point. Yeah, almost instantly. Of course, Paula's Silver Lining used to be in Michelle Nevin's barn. Horse was sold privately, so as a result of that, moved on to Chad Brown. But this victory, incredible for Michelle Nevin and for Rajiv Mirage. Yeah. 2 great stories to get the win there. Up next, 3-year-olds. Who is the best 3-year-old sprinter in the country? We're going to settle that right now. In the Grade 1, Alan Jerkins, formerly known as the King's Bishop. Coal front for Todd Pletcher. Undefeated. Of course, American Anthem coming in off back-to-back wins for trainer Bob Baffert, and that is your favorite right now at 2-1 on the board. Of course, the King's Bishop was won back in 2015 by Run Happy in stakes record time, part of an incredible sprint resume from Run Happy, who was unbeaten as a sprinter in his career. What's he up to now in his next career at stud? Let's find out.
Yeah, that was probably one of the most famous stalls in maybe Central Kentucky, maybe the country or the world even. You know, it had Bold Ruler, Secretariat, Unbridled. Now it has Run Happy, so we can see if he can continue on with the tradition.
Well, we bought Run Happy at the Keeneland sale several years ago and bought him for $200,000, so best investment I ever made.
You should go back and watch his maiden race. He like bolted to the outside and came back in, and there's no reason he should have won that race. I think he even got left at the gate, maybe. Obviously, he was very green. It was his first start.
He was all over the track, still won by 8 lengths, so that was very impressive. He's a drug-free horse. We think sports ought to be drug-free, so we try to practice what we preach.
To have a horse that was medication-free throughout his career speaks volumes. I mean, you know, most of them have to have a little something every now and again. That makes him pretty unique in today's world to run at the level he did for a period of time he did it. But I think the race that probably really got our attention was the King's Bishop in Saratoga that year. And that kind of, it's like, you know, when he rebroke at the top of the stretch and opened up and won as easy as he did, it's like, wow, okay. Yeah, this horse is for real.
Can get him. Run Happy has won the Naira.com King's Bishop by 4.
Certainly one of the highlights of my life was watching him on the screen there at Naira go across the finish line first to the King's Bishop Grade 1. So at that point, we knew we had a real racehorse.
To go up to Saratoga and win the King's Bishop like he did and run away with it and win so impressively, and then come here and, you know, his saddle slipped at the race in Keeneland and he still won, and then it looked like he was a loser in the Breeders' Cup, but he fought on and his game and the determination he had was really impressive.
Way behind at the top of the stretch, and then he made an amazing run down there and won the Breeders' Cup race. That was the Breeders' Cup Sprint champion, new track record at Keeneland, so we couldn't be prouder to have Run Happy and have him stand at Claiborne Farms. That is myself and my daughter's happy place. We love Claiborne Farms, and Run Happy loves being there.
The horse to do what he did and run that fast and be so talented, they just don't come around very often, so we felt like he was a stallion prospect that we needed to have in our roster.
The Malibu was a big race for Run Happy, the end of his 6-race winning streak, and so no horse had ever won the Breeders' Cup Sprint. They come back and won the Malibu. a month and a half later. So that was kind of a gamble. We wanted to put him in the Malibu, and he won that with Gary Stevens aboard pretty easy. So that was another great race.
Run Happy is simply super. He polishes off an outstanding campaign with a dominant victory in the Malibu.
He won at Keeneland, he won at Santa Anita, he won at Saratoga, several of the legendary places in horse racing. And what a great horse, what a great thrill it was to be around Run Happy and now to follow his stud career.
So we're really glad to have Run Happy, and that stall was empty when it came time to recruit him to be a stallion here, and the owners are big fans of Secretariat, so it was kind of a natural draw, and one of the big selling points, I guess. Maybe that's why we got him, I don't know. But it certainly helped, I'm sure.
Old ruler, Secretariat, unbridled, easy goer, Run Happy. He's going to have to earn his spot on that door to stay on that door.
Well, we want to thank Run Happy and Claiborne Farm, sponsors here of Saratoga Live, as our season winding down here. Been tremendous to us and a big part of our show, and being able to bring this to you all across the country.
Yeah, it really has been, and we've seen a lot of the Claiborne horses perform well on our shows. A late winning last week, and obviously their operation and one of the better farms I've been to.
Up next, the Grade 1 Alan Jerkins $1 million guaranteed pick 4 begins in this race as well, which of course you can play at Naira Bets. And I'll send it downstairs to Andy and Tom here. There's a look at Practical Joke. Guys shortening up in distance here out of the Haskell.
He's a horse that's undefeated around one turn, winning the Hopeful, winning the Champagne, winning the Dwyer. And he is the favorite in all the multi-race bets in this race, not American Anthem on the outside. Does that surprise you, Tom?
It does a little bit, but when you look at his resume, it's quite good. He was always going to be the winner in this race, the Dwyer. He has to wait behind horses, angles out, and just dominates his field. And of all the horses in here, and there are others that are undefeated at one turn, he has faced the best competition of those horses.
And he overcame a slow pace to win both this race and the Hopeful, and figures to get more pace here. He's a horse that sort of ran in the wrong races for the right reasons, because he had to be on the Triple Crown Trail. But the Alan Jerkins is the race that he should have been pointing for all along. It's good to see him in here, but he's got a serious rival on the far outside, an American Anthem.
He does indeed. American Anthem won a race just like this at Belmont in the Woody Stevens, and he did it from an outside position, which he has today for the 9-hole. Went around everybody, was dominant. His last work back on August the 20th at Del Mar, he went with West Coast in that work, and he was every bit as good as West Coast. He signals to me that he's ready to run today.
He's a very talented runner, but I thought that his race in the Woody Stevens on a day when Bob Baffert was absolutely firing on all cylinders was the best race he's ever run. He just was dominant in this race, and you could see it the whole way around. Now, he's facing a tougher group in here, but he's also getting some real pace to run into, which will help him and also help Practical Joke. How much do you think his post helps him versus Practical Joke, or do you think it doesn't really matter because there's an abundance of speed?
Well, we know that Belmont will favor a kind of a roundabout trip when you go around horses, and that's the trip he got. Being wide today from that 9-post position, that could hurt him as opposed to helping me as it did in Belmont.
And I think there will be enough speed that we'll see some separation in this race, so that's not going to necessarily compromise Practical Joke. Now, Colefront, he rode a very, very strong rail to an extraordinarily impressive and fast victory last time out.
No, he did indeed. Look, we can talk all about him being 3 for 3, winning the Amsterdam and doing it the right way, but we showed this horse right before the commercial break. I almost came out of my chair. He looked fantastic walking over on his toes, his coat with a perfect shine, and his weight looking really good. I've got to ask Maggie down in the paddock. Maggie, how does Colefront, the 7-horse, look right now?
He came in the same exact way he walked over here, Tom, and he is a horse that will get pretty sharp, get himself revved up. Now, you go to a start 2 back at Belmont. There was some trouble at the gate with him. He was very reluctant to rode. He gave the assistant starters a bit of a fit, but Todd schooled him plenty after that effort, and he was not a problem here at Saratoga. Now, he's certainly sharp, and I would say that he is a horse that is one to be forwardly placed here, but another one that that you just got to let roll, that's number 2, to Koffel in here. He is a horse that, going back to Belmont, he was supposed to run at Belmont in between that Gulfstream layoff and here at Saratoga, but he flat out ran off for 1.5 miles around the oval at Belmont beneath Jose Ortiz, and he could not do anything about it. He is a horse that you have to be very quiet with your hands and really not touch his mouth, and I'm sure that's what Jose has in his mind. He is fast, and I think he's come out of that win even stronger, and it was a fast win, Greg, over a track that was not playing fast here opening weekend.
Yeah, he was dominant in that performance. They tried to get him a race at Belmont late in that meet, and it got rained out. Instead, he showed up here at Saratoga, and he absolutely aired on the lead every step of the way. It's the Grade 1 Alan Jerkins. Coal Front undefeated against American Anthem for Bob Baffert. Baffert's first horse he's sending out in graded stakes action today.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NyraBets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NyraBets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
How do I see New York bred performance? Like this.
Disco.
Here's New York sire Disco Partner setting a new world record in the Jaipur.
Holy mackerel.
And they perform like multiple Grade 1 winner Mind Your Biscuits.
And he's pouring it on late.
Shown here, winning the Belmont Sprint Championship. And New York breds perform in the sales ring, where this filly sold for $750,000. Look for your registered New York performer at upcoming auctions.
Back on Saratoga Live as we continue with Grade 1 action, the Alan Jerkins coming up, and there is a look at Coal Front. Ball trained by Todd Pletcher, perfect 3 for 3, and he went every step of the way on the lead in the Amsterdam on this track.
Yeah, and I think he's sort of the Rodney Dangerfield of this field. I think a lot of people are looking at Practical Joke and American Anthem. When you look at Coal Front, he's the type of horse, what I love about him is his first 2 races were candy races. He got stuck in the outside. He got stalking trips. When he went to the Amsterdam, he had to be used up early and continued to move forward. So I think back to the outside, he passed that test that he didn't need a candy trip, and I think he's the horse that could surprise in here.
Well, there's a look at Practical Joke sent out by Chad Brown. And Klarovich Stables, Preakness connections with cloud computing. He is undefeated around one turn. He'll be cutting back in distance this afternoon for the Allen Jerkins. What are the differences between a route versus a sprint? Maggie Wolfendale tells us in Playing from the Paddock.
At this Saratoga meeting, we'll start things off with your current favorites. The best analogy to distinguish between sprinting horses versus those who prefer running route distances is to think of the physical makeup of a running back compared to that of a marathon runner. Running backs are stout and very muscular and are able to show quick bursts of speed while dodging blocks. Yet marathon runners are very lean and long-legged types that can keep the same pace over several miles. The same physicalities are true in thoroughbreds. Sprinters tend to have elevated, well-developed hindquarters with shorter backs that lead into muscular shoulders. Route horses will possess a longer, leaner appearance with a longer neck and back and slightly lesser developed hindquarters.
So, practical joke, he has never lost around one turn. He'll shorten up from 1 1/8 now to 7 furlongs. He'll have the inside post.
He's going to be tough. He needs pace to run into, but when you look at his resume, I still think of all the 3-year-olds, he's got the best resume. He hasn't thrown in a clunker in any of his races.
And let's not forget, he loves it at Saratoga. He is a horse for course perfect 2 for 2 here. Here he is, the son of Into Mischief, sent out by Chad Brown, Klarovich Stables, and William Lawrence, and Joel Rosario.
Undefeated around one turn and is the horse to beat today. He's going to need a trip.
He's a 2015 Keeneland September sales grad as well. Here is Takaffel for Kieran McLaughlin and Shadwell Stable with Jose Ortiz.
Stepping up after a huge performance against Lesser.
Charles Fipke sends out Tale of Silence for Barclay Tag with Manny Franco aboard.
Charles Fipke with a big win in the personal ensign. Going to try to shock him even more with Tale of Silence here.
Wild Shot, the 4. Is a big long shot here. Jose Lizcano for Rusty Arnold and Calumet Farm.
Yeah, this would be a huge surprise if he hit the winner's circle. He's going against the best 3-year-old sprinters in the country.
5 horse is Ann Arbor Eddie, trained by Doug O'Neill. Mario Gutierrez for Redham Racing. Blinkers on today.
About 3 starts back, he was behind the Great Mastery, who got hurt on the Derby Trail, but losing in a Calbred race doesn't equate to winning here at Saratoga.
Cole Front, he is undefeated, a perfect 3 for 3, sent out by Todd Pletcher, owned by Robert LaPenta, and head of Plains Partners with John Velasquez.
This horse is sharp, and I think getting underappreciated here, and I think sits a very good trip.
Lael Stables sends out No Dozing for Arnaud Delacour with Javier Castellano.
Ran a huge race last time, changing style and going wire to wire.
And American Anthem, a 2015 Keeneland September sales grad, trained by Bob Baffert, owned by Windstar and Mike Smith rides.
Was absolutely brilliant last time in the Woody Stevens 4 wide. And how about Bob Baffert's percentage when his horses win their last start? 41%.
Well, and Mike Smith and Bob Baffert together, 49%. There's a look at the 6'5 Beta Express, owned by Martin Cherry. Kendrick Carmouche for Danny Gargan.
On a win streak, but this spot is very ambitious.
So $1.2 million in this pick 4 field as we take a look at No Dozing coming off a stakes win. That was at Laurel on a muddy track, won by 4 lengths. Let's go to Gabby for more.
Thanks, Greg. And standing with Arnaud Delacour, sending out No Dozing. And Arnaud, you put the blinkers on him last time out for the first time, got a victory on a wet track. What was the purpose behind putting those blinkers on?
Well, just to see if he could focus a little more, you know. Until then, we were trying to go 2 turns, so get him to settle and make a run. And he kind of didn't like to do it, you know, like he would settle, then he wouldn't have another gear. So the idea was to get him a little bit sharper and see if we could use his speed, and I thought that he did very well when he ran at Lorraine.
And obviously he's a horse who went wire to wire last time out, but do you think that he has a successful rating, Gara, as there seems to be a lot of pace in here?
Yes, I mean, the last time we just met the lead because we sent him away, and that's how it played out, you know. But I don't think that anybody else wanted the lead, so we just ended up in front. But he doesn't have to do that. He can sit off the paces. He's proved it.
And talking about Divining Rod, who you send out in the next race, I know you've always been so high on this horse, maybe even thought more highly of him than AP Indian, who was tremendous in his own right. What was the time off? What was the reason for the time off since the Cigar Mile, and how's he coming into this race after a huge victory last time out?
He came back with a bit of an ankle, you know, and I mean, nothing major, but we, Dr. Bromledge recommended to give him 60 days, so we did, and he came back like very well. I was delighted with his last race. I'm a little bit afraid of the quick turnaround, 2 weeks. But in the meantime, he hasn't run much last year, so, it's time to go for him.
All right, well, best of luck with both.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Greg.
Gabby, thank you. So 11-1, Paul, on no dozing. That was a huge performance last start, but all kinds of different companies got a face here.
Hey, this is a horse that one time was on the Derby Trail in 2016. Was, as a 2-year-old on the Derby Trail coming into this, got beat by Tappert, McCracken this year, but his breeder's futurity was pretty good. And there is Coalfront warming up to 7 for Mr. LaPenta and Todd Pletcher and Johnny V. Now, when you look at this horse, he's a tough horse to try to figure out because he gets a little high-headed. I want to go downstairs to Tom after this. He does this most of the time as well. He gets a little high-headed and his head sort of points towards the outside, but he takes off. He has a quick little 100-yard burst of speed where I think he's going to be able to rate. It looks on paper that he has one way to go. I don't think he can outfoot Phi Beta Express or Tackle Full here, the 2 and the 6. So I think he sits in that garden trip right behind those two. Then he's going to have to fend off American Anthem.
Oh, he did so a brief amount of ability to sit off the pace in his debut. We'll see if he can do that again this afternoon. He's brilliantly quick himself, however. He is 3-1 on the board right now. Third choice here in the Allen Jerkins. Grade 1 stakes races continue here on Saratoga Live. We'll be right back with a 3-year-old sprint championship next. Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish from a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
Front. That's not first, it's second.
Here on Fox Sports 2 on Travers Day at one of the most historic venues in the entire country for any sport. Saratoga, $1.6 million here in this pick 4 pool. That is all grade 1s to come. And it's the Allen Jerkins coming up right now. Bob Baffert, his entourage of outstanding runners begins right here with American Anthem, but he'll have to deal with the undefeated Coalfront here for trainer Todd Pletcher, the son of Stay Thirsty. perfect 3 for 3 in his career. And will he show a new dimension? We're going to find out shortly.
He's going to have to find it. And listen, I was going downstairs to Tom. I wanted to ask you, can this horse rate? And, you know, he carries his head a little high. Does that worry you a little bit?
Yeah, so, Paul, when we watched that last race, he was down towards the inside, broke from the 2-hole. You're right. He angles his head out a little bit, but you could tell the rider was able to control him. From this outside post, the 7-hole today, I don't think there'll be any difficulty with that. As far as how he carries his head, to me, it is an okay position for a big horse. I'm fine with that as well.
I'm a little dubious of this horse being able to rate successfully and hold off closers like Practical Joke and American Anthem.
Well, we'll see. There is a look at the Son of Stay Thirsty. Again, 3-1 on the board. And here is Takafo. He was highly regarded early on in his career after a brilliant debut performance. And he came back as a 3-year-old and aired here at Saratoga with more. Let's go to Gabby.
Thanks, Greg. Yes, I did get the chance to speak to Karen McLaughlin about Takafel and asking him pretty much what he's done since his last race. And he said that he's a horse that went back down to Belmont to train because he's very quirky in the mornings. He goes with a whole bunch of different kind of equipment on his face to just get him to settle. He has to go out really late in the morning. And Kieran said he's been no better, he's been no worse since his last race. And that's exactly how he wants him coming into this race, considering his performance last time out. But he's a very hard horse to handle. So, guys, I would just imagine that Jose Ortiz is going to put his hands down and try to get the lead from the inside.
All right, Gabby, interesting. Thank you. I mean, that comeback effort was big from him, so we'll see. I mean, he has a gear where he just wants to go and keep on going.
He's one of those type of horses. If he's left alone on the front end, he shows all of his talents. We have not talked about the 6 in here, 5 Beta Express, who got destroyed at the gate last time and showed a ton of speed. I know the horse is a big long shot, but he's going to play a big factor in this race. If he can get out and stick it to the 2, Takafel, I think that ends his race early.
Loading up for the Grade 1, Alan Jerkins, and the favorite has become Bob Baffert's American Anthem, who shipped out east and won the Grade 2 Woody Stevens on the Belmont Undercard Day. Can he go back-to-back here on the East Coast? We're about to find out. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of the Triple Crown, Larry Colmus, for the call.
Left to load here, No Dozing, and Javier Castellano about to take their spot in the starting gate. And American Anthem will be the last one. Cold Front not quite in there yet. Resistant a bit to go into line, but Cold Front now steps forward. He is in. Here is No Dozing and Mike Smith and American Anthem. Coming up to the outside stall. Goes in. They're all in line. They're off in the Allen Jerkins. Cold Front had a beautiful start. Takafel is sent along. Phi Beta Express is up on the pace 2. American Anthem came out running in 4th. Ann Arboretti 5th up the backstretch. And then it's Practical Joke on the inside of No Dozing, about 7 lengths off the lead. Tale of Silence and Wild Shot. Takafel leads the way up the backstretch. Phi Beta Express 3/4 of a length behind. The first quarter is up in 22.36 seconds. It's 4 lengths to Cold Front, who's off the pace today outside of Ann Arboretti. No Dozing in a tight spot right behind them. A rail run for Practical Joke, who at the half-mile pole is 8 lengths off the lead. American Anthem is there on the outside. Tale of Silence and Wild Shot around the far turn. Takafel rattling along here on the lead. The half 45.05 seconds. His lead is a length on the far turn. Phi Beta Express is second by 2. Ann Arboretti is third. Cold Front fourth. American Anthem comes wide, while Practical Joke rides the rail to the top of the stretch. Takafel turning for home in front. Practical Joke has made a strong inside bid. He's up into second, and he's running after Takafel with a furlong to run. Practical Joke has taken the lead. Takafel is back into second, then American Anthem. Tale of Silence and Cold Front. It is Practical Joke in the Allen Jerkins. He won it by a length and a half. Takafel was second, and then American Anthem. A photo with Tale of Silence. The final time was 1 minute 21.96 seconds.
Still undefeated around one turn. The cutback in distance for Practical Joke. And there is Chad Brown, his trainer, on the board with an important victory here in the Allen Jerkins.
Great race by Practical Joke, the one horse to stay undefeated at one turn, and showed his class and the ability to lay off of a very quick pace that Takaful, the two horse, was doing all on his own. Super performance down the stretch and a super ride, heady ride on pace by Joel Rosario.
A brilliant ride by Joel Rosario. Almost as good as his ride in the Derby. He cut the corner and he picked up 3 lengths and suddenly was right behind Takaful, who never stopped running, and Practical Joke came and got him, and the others were nowhere.
You make a good point because Takaful ran his eyeballs out. And you know what? Joel asked him at the right time because he knew he had to get into him early because Takaful was getting away from this group. Class 1 over here. Everybody took their shot. See Joel on the rail, red and white cap. He's asking already. Now the race is over. Takaful's just done all the heavy lifting. I'll tell you what, Tale of Silence sort of came off that cover of the one Practical Joke and just might have got ripped here for third by American Anthem, about 40-1. But take nothing away. We said this before the race. This is the 1 3-year-old that has not thrown in a clunker all year. Congratulations to Chad.
Yeah, look at that. Cheering his horse home to the wire. Never hurts. Little body English to get the W. Practical Joke. 5 wins now from 10 career starts, and we talked about the horse for course angle as well. A perfect 3 for 3 here at Saratoga as Chad Brown collects another grade 1. Let's go to Maggie.
And here with winning rider Joel Rosario, who is on his way to a big day here, taking, ooh, that was a serious bug, taking today's King's Bishop aboard Practical Joke here. Joel, you got a nice trip, but it was a smart ride, too, along the rail.
Yeah, it's a very good trip. You know, they set it up going front. I just kind of, yes, trying to stay in the rail and then, you know, just looking for the traffic in front. But, you know, we got a very grim trip in the inside.
And he's a horse that you've pretty much been on for most of his starts, and now he remains undefeated around one turn. Is this just his perfect trip, this 7/8?
Yeah, he's, you know, he's seen like he hold his race that he ran, you know, that he win it and everything. When going one turn, he just, you know, he give it 100%. He always try hard. You know, this horse, he's, you know, he's very precious. He's a very good horse. Yes, it seemed like, going one turn, I think he probably a little better with that.
Picking up 2 grade 1s now already. Hopefully it's another grade 1 in the Travers. How do you feel about Good Samaritan?
Yeah, hopefully. You know, he ran good last time, first time in the dirt. And then, you know, we're going stepping forward now for the Travers. So, yes, we'll see how we run his race. He's a very good horse, too. So I have a lot of confidence in him. Yep.
You have a lot of confidence for the whole day. Joel, congratulations here in the King's Bishop.
Thank you very much.
All right, Greg, back to you.
Well, Joel will try and beat the connections in that Travers, who he was riding for here on Good Samaritan. Of course, they'll send out Preakness champ Cloud Computing, Chad Brown and Klarovich Stables, and there is Chad. And what a performance to run down the lone speed in the Allen Jerkins. Still to come, out to prove he's the best sprinter in the entire world. Mind Your Biscuits, back to business in a rematch against Breeders' Cup Sprint champion Dre Fong, in which he finished 3rd. He's out to turn the tables. That is coming up in the Grade 1 Forego.
Claiborne Farm presents Trap Shot. This graded stakes winner and multiple Grade 1 performer is now an emerging young sire. His top runners include Fish Trap Road, winner of the Grade 3 Dwyer Stakes, plus 2-year-old stakes winner Mirai, graded stakes place Quick Release, and Grade 1 performers My Man Sam and Wild Shot. Already ranked among the nation's leading sires of 2-year-old winners, Trap Shot has the speed, the class, and the pedigree to remain Tappett's top sign. Trap Shot at Claiborne Farm.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Travers Day at Saratoga Springs, New York. It is Practical Joke in the winner's circle for the Grade 1. Alan Jerkins, trained by Chad Brown, Klarovich Stables, William Lawrence, and Joe El Rosario. Team up for the victory here. Toccoffel, American Anthem. Wind up second and third, but Practical Joke, what a 3-year-old campaign he's put together. He's on the Triple Crown Trail. He ran in the Kentucky Derby, but it appears one turn is his game.
Yeah, and he's got now a Grade 1 win at age 2 and at age 3, and what a horse he's been, now 5 for 10 lifetime.
This is a look at what our reigning champion trainer has done so far this afternoon. He gets on the board with his first win, a Grade 1 victory, and he still has plenty of ammo left. Money Multiplier and the Sword Dancer, of course, the Preakness champ, Cloud Computing and the Travers, and Lady Eli, Antino, and Roca Rojo, all in the Ballston Spa. He's standing by with Gabby right now.
Thanks, Greg, and Practical Joke, what a performance this was. He's been so consistent throughout his career, Chad. Talk a little bit about the performance today and really moving forward, what Breeders' Cup race are you pointing towards?
I'll tell you, it's his best performance to date, really. He's been an iron horse for us. His 3rd race in 7 weeks. I mean, he just nearly won the Haskell just 4 weeks ago, and for him to come back and run quick back again and cut all the way to 7 and get it done, what a remarkable horse.
And where do you think he's looking later this year for the Breeders' Cup?
I think later on down the Breeders' Cup, we'll probably be looking at the dirt mile first. I know it's 2 turns, and he's undefeated around 1 turn, but it's a mile, and that's what I'm thinking. But I'll talk to the owners about it. Enjoy this for now.
He's versatile, that's for sure. Chad, obviously, the big race later, Travers, Cloud Computing. How's he doing coming into the race, and thoughts on the Jim Dandy?
He's doing terrific. It's just the Jim Dandy was the only poor race he's ever had, the only bad day he's ever had for us. He's been training terrific over the main track here, and hopefully he can redeem himself.
We'll let you get your win picture taken. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
All right, guys, that's Chad Brown there with Practical Joke.
Gabby, thank you. He's used to getting his picture taken, winning so many big races all around the world. Our reigning Eclipse Award-winning trainer, and a Grade 1 win here on Travers Day.
Sort of that tricky horse, right? He's talking about the 2-turn mile for the Breeders' Cup Dirt. He's never done a 2-turn mile. He's on a mile and a 16th here and there, so you never know.
It's a tweener.
It is a tweener because, listen, he's a half a length behind Gervin and them in the Haskell. He's so good around 1 turn. Wow, he might be a handful in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.
Good decisions to have, though, for Chad Brown. We continue with the Grade 1 Forego. And this could settle for at least our midsummer version, who is the best sprinter in the entire world right now. We have our reigning Breeders' Cup Sprint champion in Dre Fong, the 10. And, of course, Mind Your Biscuits, the 6, who was 3rd in that race and who has won on this racetrack before in the past. And he's coming off a win at Belmont in the Belmont Sprint Championship.
And this was his work on August 3rd. He had 2 more works after this. And, you know, this son of Posse has just been a machine. Besides Arrogate's win in the Dubai Classic, this horse was the most impressive winner on that card by far in the Dubai Golden Shaheen. Was about 4 or 5 wide the whole way. He franked that effort in the Belmont Sprint. I know Dre Fong is maybe the lone speed in here, but this horse right here is the horse to beat.
That would be Dre Fong for Bob Baffert with Mike Smith. Your Breeders' Cup Sprint champion. He reeled off 5 consecutive wins in a row. That ended his 3-year-old season. He came back finally as a 4-year-old at Del Mar late July. That was in the Grade 1 Bing Crosby. And what went wrong out of the gate? Keep your eyes inside. And Dre Fong sees that little opening and that gap in the chute where that temporary rail comes to an end, and he took a wrong turn. Mike Smith came off. Will it affect him now in his next race since that performance? We'll talk more about it when we come back.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NyraBets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NyraBets.com, right in the Bet Type drop-down menu, or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus, as packed as can be for Travers Day here at historic Saratoga. You can earn a 10% winner's bonus on the Naira Bets Late Pick 5 that begins in the very next race coming up here. The Grade 1 Forego. It includes a Sword Dancer, Woodford, Reserve Boston Spa, and Travers Stakes presented by Naira Bets. Payouts have been incredible all meet long. And on Saturday, which is today, of course, you play through Naira Bets, a guaranteed single winning ticket minimum payout of $300,000. Get signed up and started with Naira Bets all across the country. Grade 1 Forego coming up here, purse of $600,000 in a Breeders' Cup Sprint rematch of your champion, Dre Fong, who's your 4-5 favorite right now, and Mind Your Biscuits.
Yeah, Dre Fong, like you said, the Breeders' Cup Sprint winner. Last time out, hadn't been seen and ran in the Bing Crosby. And Mike Smith was dropped from the rail. So no races, really, even though the horse ran around the racetrack. Actually stuck his nose in front at one part of the race with the riderless horse and caused a lot of havoc. Ransom the Moon won the race at a giant price. But 4-5, the public's diving into that white-head wizard. I'm Bob Baffert.
He's the Breeders' Cup Sprint champion. He is likely the lone controlling speed in the race as well. As we take a look at Mike Smith getting ready to come out onto the track. Let's send it downstairs to Maggie. Maggie, a lot of money here. Surprising at all. We see him at 4-5. Andy, excuse me. Let's go to Andy downstairs. Andy, in terms of the betting here, he is the controlling speed, so you surprised by that at all?
No, I thought he'd be an overwhelming favorite in here, and Travis Stone made the line correct, making him the favorite. But I do think it's a little bit too much of a separation.
So short price, he's going to be in front. He's going to be by himself, and assuming he doesn't dump his rider, it's going to be awfully tough to catch in this race. Grade 1 Forego coming up. Let's go to Gabby for more.
Thanks, Greg, and standing here with Mike Smith. And Mike, you were aboard in the Bing Crosby last time out on Dre Fong. Talk a little bit about that experience, and had he shown any signs of that before?
Well, Gab, he actually got bumped. If you watch the head-on, just before we got to the gap, the outside horse hit him, and I think it made him think he had to go that way. So that's what I believe happened anyway, and I'm going to keep that in my head because he's never done nothing like that before.
Can sometimes an experience like that, though, shake things up mentally for a horse?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, nothing bad really happened to him after that. I mean, if anybody got the worst of it, it was me.
And looking at his strategy here, Mike, he's just a horse that's incredibly fast. Plan is to just go from the outside?
Yeah, I'm not going to take away nothing at all that comes easy to me. And hopefully we get a big jump like he did here last year. I actually thought one of his best races was on this racetrack, so I'm hoping that's a plus for us.
All right, well, best of luck here, Mike.
Thank you.
Back to you, Greg.
Gabby, thank you. So Mike Smith back on board Dre Fong, and it's got to be in Mike Smith's head a little bit, too, of what happened after that last start of the Bing Crosby when he got dumped early on in that race. But he no doubt knows the game plan. Get to the front, take him as far as you can, and that win that Mike talked about in the King's Bishop here last year, his only try at Saratoga, that, too, came at 7 furlongs. With more on the reigning Breeders' Cup Sprint champ, let's go to Maggie.
Now, unfortunately, Greg, I'm not all that familiar with Dre Fong. He's only run here once, and I didn't have any notes on him last year. I don't believe I covered this race. So while he was saddling, guys, he was shaking, visibly shaking while they put the saddle on him. I don't love to see that, especially with these older horses. It makes me a little bit nervous overall, just about where they are mentally. Physically, he looks great. I can't fault him whatsoever, but we'll see after, especially coming in off of that kind of marred scene in the Bing Crosby where he did lose Mike Smith. Now, a horse that just looks tremendous is number 4, Divining Rod. He is second off of a layoff. He looks super fit here after only beating a 5-horse field at Laurel, though, but he just looks ready. I love what I'm seeing from this Arnaud Delacour trainee. Look of Eagles, that's for sure, in his eyes. So I'm liking Divining Rod here, guys.
All right, Maggie, thank you. So 5-1 on Dividing Rod. He's coming off a huge performance, but it was in a stake at Laurel on a muddy track, and he's facing 2 of the best sprinters in the entire world right now in Mind Your Biscuits and Dre Fong.
This is an interesting runner, though. You cannot ignore his cigar mile. He put on the blinkers for the first time, and I know Chad thought a lot of Connect downstairs. and he ran him down to the wire, and then his last race was really, really easy. And this is the race, Andy. You know what? It looked like Connect was going to go right on by, but Divining Rod showed a lot of heart.
No question about it. I mean, he stamped himself as a major player with his performance, even in defeat. Tom, there are some cases where you see a horse coming back 14 days after a return race where you'd say it too soon. I tend to think it's a good sign with this horse.
I'm not so sure. I mean, the trainer commented on it and talked about his worry about 14 days. But remember, that's 14 days, and the race before this one was 6 months ago. So a big, big effort from the 4-horse Divining Rod off a 6-month layoff, and now back in 14 days. That's difficult to do.
We'll see how.
You throw out that Travers, and he has won 6 races in a row. Including graded stakes. And hang on one sec. One of those included a win against Gunrunner.
I'm with you, but Tom, that wasn't a workout. That was a paid workout last time.
Look, I'm not going to argue with it, but an effort's an effort, and that was a big effort that day. Whether you think he was asked for his best or not, it was a big effort compared to his other races.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Dre Fong, our Breeders' Cup Sprint champion. Tom, I got to ask you, let's go back to what Maggie said in here. She said Dre Fong was shaking in the stall. What does that mean?
Right, so if you think of it in people terms, it's immediately like, oh, no, he's shaking. But horses are not people, and they're different. And a percentage of them will do that. The thing to look for from Dre Fong after that, when he's in the stall, is what is he acting like now? Is he sweaty? Is he nervous? He is laid back and looking good. I put no emphasis in that.
So we have learned one important thing on today's show. Horses are not people.
It's important information to tell us. You know, this is our even money favorite in a race, and we expect him to be in the lead coming off a race in which he just dumped his rider. I mean, we can joke about that, but we need to know what's going on with him mentally right now.
No, let's, all joking aside, if you would have told me that all the Bob Baffert horses, More Spirit, all of them have won, and the 2 horses that came back are Arrogate and Drefong, and they're 0 for 3, I'd have told you you're crazy. Now, I get it that Dre Fong dropped the rider, but fitness-wise, Mike, I thought hit the nail on the head when I interviewed him earlier. 7 furlongs is the worry. If this was 6 furlongs, this horse might be 3 to 5. But Mind Your Biscuits, I think, has got the advantage at 7.
All right, well, the pick 5 here, Paul, starts. I'm not sure if you're aware about that.
Yes, I am.
What are you going to do on your ticket?
Well, I'm going 3 deep. I'm going to take my stand a little bit later. 4, 6, 10. I'm using Divining Rod. I'm going to use 4. I like Erupt a lot in the Sword Dancer. In race number 11, it's the Travers. 3, 5, and 10. I'm using the 2 West Coast horses, no pun intended, West Coast and IRAP, and then Good Samaritan. The 2 fillies to beat in the Boston Spa or the mares, Antono and Lady Eli, not even close. Those are horses that are going to run 1-2. I like prognostication in the last. That horse should have won 2 back. And last time, I thought, had a decent trip. When you look at the other races, horses in the race, that's the horse to beat. $36 for 50 cents.
All right, there's Paul's pick 5. We have 210,000 and growing in that Naira Bets late pick 5 pool. Again, if you play it through Naira Bets, you're the only winning ticket. The minimum, you get back $300,000 today. Grade 1 Forgo coming up. Dre Fong, certainly the horse to beat. He'll be the horse to catch as well. Mind Your Biscuits has been brilliant, though, his last couple of starts. And sometimes people question, Paul, you go to Dubai, halfway across the world, and he was brilliant there when he won. How will you be when you come back? It was no problem at all in the Belmont Sprint Championship.
Well, he was a lot sharper earlier, which is what he's going to need today. He's got to be sharp early to stay close to Divining Rod and Dre Fong.
Post-parade coming up for the Grade 1 Forgo. We will start with Stall Walkin' Duty. Loves Saratoga, the 7-year-old. 3 for 4 here, sent out by David Jacobson. Head of Plains Partners, and Joe Bravo rides.
He's taken a big bite in this race, but the old warrior delivers more often than not.
Ross, he just missed in the Grade 2 Godolphin Mile earlier this year. Trained by former champion German jockey and owned by Stahl Domstadt.
Yeah, this is a different ball game. This horse has got good form on dirt over there, but dirt over there to dirt over here, different.
Tom's ready, a 2013 Keeneland November sales graduate. Dallas Stewart trains, owned by GMB Racing with Brian Hernandez Jr.
Dallas Stewart looking for his 2nd Grade 1 win today. Tom's ready winning would make Forever Unbridled look like a layup.
Layout Stable sends out Divining Rod Javier Castellano for Arnaud Delacour.
Always had a ton of class to this son of Tappet. Now the blinkers have gone on the last 2 times, and he's been darn tough. I wouldn't be surprised if he upsets.
Awesome Slew, graded stakes winner at 7 furlongs, trained by Mark Cassidy, owned by Live Oak Plantation with John Velasquez.
A very talented runner who was second to Mind Your Biscuits, but the lack of pace really hurts him.
Long shot Tommy Macho, owned by Paul Pompa. And Todd Pletcher trainee with Luis Saez.
Another horse that's hurt by lack of pace, but having 7 weeks off since his last start will really help his chances.
Tale of Sabal. He's owned by Charles Fipke, trained by Barclay Tagg with Manny Franco.
Snuck up the rail last time to win, but look who he beat last time, 3-5 India. Earlier in the card today here at Saratoga, won very easily.
Here is Very, Very Stella, owned by Jose Nota Fernandez, trained by that one as well. And it is Carlos Hernandez aboard at 53-1.
She is very, very overmatched.
And Dre Fong, our Breeders' Cup Sprint champion here for Bioma Corporation, trained by Bob Baffert with Mike Smith, a 2014 Keeneland September sales graduate.
He ducked in the gap and lost Mike last time in the Bing Crosby. So really no races since the last time we've seen her in the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
And Mind Your Biscuits, 2014 Keeneland January sales graduate, trained by Chad Summers with Joel Rosario for Head of Plains Partners.
This is a horse that has just been getting better and better, and at 5-2 might be the bet.
Well, Dre Fong has won here at Saratoga. He did so as a 3-year-old in the King's Bishop. That was at 7 furlongs, and in that race, very early on, led every step of the way, and he kept on going.
Well, the race was over right out of the break. He really did break. Well, he didn't break really sharp, but he cleared the field, and then it was just gone. You could see a couple horses trying to chase him home, holding back Bear, not only back Bear, an economic model, but this was the coming out party, and then he franked it with the Breeders' Cup Sprint win, beating Mind Your Biscuits and Masochistic. He's very fast. He looks well on the racetrack. He's going to have to clear Divining Rod. That's really the only speed in here of the 4.
Well, he's got a huge advantage from a pace standpoint in here, but you got to wonder about his mental state after what happened last time out at Del Mar in that Bing Crosby. He had not raced since the Breeders' Cup. That race came the end of the July, so basically that race was over before it began for him. It's essentially his first start since November.
Yeah, Bob's so good at these type of things. I don't think the horse is going to be short at all. Mike's a little worried about the extra furlong, but you make a great point. You want to have some fitness. I don't know if the horse got any fitness out of the last race.
Well, Mind Your Biscuits, he would love some revenge on Dre Fong. With more, let's go to Gabby.
Thanks, Greg, here with Chad Summers. And Chad, take us about 2 weeks ago. This horse, you came out and said that you were kind of debating and even running him in this race. What are some of the changes and what made you change your mind?
We moved his barn, and since then he's settled back down. He actually gained a little bit of weight. His color came back, and he's just been a happy horse. You know, we have a benefit of knowing the horse as long as we've had him since he was a yearling, and he just wasn't acting like himself. It wasn't physical. It was more mental than anything else, and we look like we got him in a good mental state right now.
He's a horse that you've always said, too, has been a little bit underrated in here. You think he should be the favorite? Do you think he's the horse to beat?
Well, I think he should be the favorite, but Saratoga's a graveyard of favorites, so I don't mind that Dre Fong's a favorite.
All right, and how's he acting here today? I know always a little bit of a quirky horse.
His usual bad self. Bad for us, good for everybody else.
He's always definitely a playful sort in the afternoon, so best of luck here, Chad.
Thanks, Gabby.
Greg?
All right, we'll see. Chad Summers, he has a brilliant sprinter. And by the way, a New York-bred sprinter in his barn who has been doing his thing all across the world, including that victory in the Dubai Golden Shaheen. Let's check in with Maggie now.
And just to kind of give a little bit of an update here with Mind Your Biscuits, he was last in coming onto the track, and it's probably a good thing that the other horses weren't around him because he certainly was revved up and on his toes. Now, Joel Rosario's kind of tried to keep him a little bit more quiet. He's gotten a decent gallop with the pony with him now, but I'm not in love with the fact that, you know, just a couple weeks ago, his trainer wasn't in love with running him here. So we'll see. So far, so good. Then, and just circling back to Dre Fong, as Tom said, he's totally chilled and relaxed now, guys.
All right, so not a great sign there on Mind Your Biscuits on that report from Maggie.
No, not a great sign. Listen, it's a horse that is a quirky horse, but the 7 furlongs is going to benefit him more than the other horse is, whether he's good enough or not.
Well, he's good enough. There's no doubt about it. He's been absolutely sensational this year, and his win last time at Belmont was spectacular. I don't like all the histrionics with the training up here and the stuff about him needing to move his stall and all that, and it just doesn't inspire confidence in me, Tom.
I think Chad is a guy that's known this horse so long that he overthinks it. But the things he's overthinking aren't really that relevant to what's going to happen today. So I'm not disturbed by the things he's saying. I actually like that he knows his horse that well.
How concerned are you about the pace? I mean, they're acting like – I picked Dreyfong, so it's not like I'm against it. But it's almost like everybody knows that Dreyfong is going to be walking in the front end. And, Tom, you've talked about this before. Sometimes that's a disadvantage.
It can be a disadvantage, but I don't think it is for Dreyfong because when we watched the King's Bishop from last year, he broke from an extreme outside post just like he's doing today, same exact distance just like he's doing today, and he controlled things from out there. I look for a possible exact repeat of last year's race.
Greg, I basically agree completely with Tom.
Well, it's going to be hard to deny. Controlling speed of the race. He's your reigning Breeders' Cup Sprint champ, but his comeback race leaves big-time question marks. He returned in the Bing Crosby at Del Mar, and with that temporary railing, he ducked in, and Mike Smith was thrown from Dreyfong. With more, let's go to Maggie.
And Greg, this time around, he's not near the inside as I am right along this temporary rail here. Now, it really does act as a nice buffer for when the chute meets up with the main track. You still have a little bit of open run space here, so if a horse is very quirky, they might run to it. But he's posted towards the outside here today. Now, they're way back in the chute, so the likelihood of him kind of doing the same thing that he did last time is very unlikely. There's still some empty space there. He might run towards it, but I still don't foresee that happening given the fact that he is towards the outside as opposed to the inside. And what happened was the horse to his inside kind of just didn't break as well, and so he was left with nothing to his inside, and he just ran into that open space. I think we're just going to see a more truer Dreyfong, your defending champion here. So let's see if he can do it in the forego, guys.
Maggie, thank you. So we shall see if that is still in his head at all. He was all the way inside, or post 2 anyway, when that happened, Paul, last time out. Now he's all the way outside.
Yeah, he's all the way outside. I want to ask Tom a question. Tom, when a horse gets loose like that, do they get any fitness out of the race? He ran around the racetrack for a little while.
Yeah. I'd be very concerned with that. Now, remember, they used that race, probably that 6-furlong race, hoping to use it as a stepping stone to the 7/8 race. So now you're talking about a horse whose last race was the Breeders' Cup, having to come back at 7/8, plus Bob Baffert has to make sure that this wasn't a habit with Dreyfong. Worked him from the gate after that occurred. It was actually his first work since then. So the whole training regime has changed for Dreyfong from what it would have been if that never occurred.
All right, so questions that we'll find out answered here coming up. We have not talked about the horse shipping in from France who ran very big on the same day that Mind Your Biscuits won the Dubai Golden Jean. That is the 2 Ross, who put up a huge performance to just miss in the Godolphin Mile.
He's the type of horse, when you look at his running lines, he lays way back and makes one run. When you look at a lot of these horses that come over here for the first time from Europe, there you see him right there, the son of acclamation. They usually break slow, and when you're breaking slow against these type of horses, he might be too far back and get disinterested.
His trainer won the Arc de Triomphe with Daydream back in 2011, set an ARC record in that race as well. There's a look at Stall Walking Dude. Andy, we know he loves Saratoga. He's coming off a huge performance in a restricted stakes race, but now he's got to face 2 of the best sprinters in the world.
Yeah, he's not a likely winner, but he's not a 20-to-1 shot in general. This is a very, very nice horse. I don't know that he can beat the likes of the horses he's facing here, but he can certainly get into the superfecta or trifecta, Tom.
I think his best race gets him home. You know, he's breaking from the extreme inside as opposed to Dreyfong from the extreme outside. One other comment on Dreyfong. Mike Smith won't be hitting that horse right-handed when he leaves the gate as he did this last time. He probably will have his stick in his left hand, if anything.
What about Awesome Slew? Unfortunately for his connections, he gets no pace to run at. But, you know, this field is so tough that we're almost disregarding horses that have made almost $800,000.
Well, we have the first 4 finishers coming out of the Belmont Sprint. Awesome Slew was second. But Mind Your Biscuits was so powerful over those other opponents. I think he's running for behind whatever Mind Your Biscuits runs.
Greg.
All set for the Grade 1 4-go in the Breeders' Cup Sprint rematch. There is Dre Fong, your reigning Breeders' Cup champ, going against Mind Your Biscuits one more time. Here's the voice of the Triple Crown, Larry Colmus.
They're off in the 4-go. Dre Fong rushes out of there to take the lead right away, and Dre Fong to the front, opening up to lead by 2 lengths up the backstretch. And then it is Tale of Saval on the outside, running in second. Stall Walking Dude is third. Divining Rod between horses fourth. Mind Your Biscuits is close up, just 2 lengths off the lead in fifth. Then Tommy Macho on the outside, followed by Ross, Very, Very Stella, Awesome Slew, and Tom's Ready. 22.89. It was not a fast early fraction here for the champion sprinter Dre Fong, who leads it by a neck. Stall Walking Dude is on his inside, second at the half-mile pole. Tale of Saval is right up there, running in third. Divining Rod fourth. Mind Your Biscuits is right alongside of him. They're just 2.5 lengths off of Dre Fong as they round the far turn. Tommy Macho is 3 wide, and then Ross on the inside. They're being followed by Awesome Slew, Very, Very Stella. Tom's Ready held up at the back, 7 lengths off the lead. Dre Fong has run a half in 45.58 seconds and turns for home in the 4-go in front. Dre Fong off the turn with a 1.5 length lead. Tale of Saval is second. Coming up the rail is Awesome Slew with a late run, and then Divining Rod on the outside. Mind Your Biscuits did not go on today. Dre Fong is running away. Dre Fong, this champion sprinter, absolutely crushes his competition in the 4-go. He won it by 4 lengths. And then it was Awesome Slew second, followed by Tom's Ready and Divining Rod. The final time was 1 minute 21.12 seconds.
That is just a few ticks off the track record for 7 furlongs here at Saratoga. Your Breeders' Cup Sprint champion. Impressive here in the 4-go.
Very impressive, and I guess it's easy to ride a horse that controls the pace in a race. But in Dre Fong's case, it was that second quarter of a mile where Mike had to use him a little bit to keep him in the position that gave him that good finish at the end. So look, excellent ride by Mike Smith. Watch when he cuts the corner right there. All of a sudden, the race is over.
The champ is back. He ran 4/5 of a second faster than Practical Joke did, winning the Allen Jerkins. He controlled, but he was dominant.
Yeah, he really was. Tom, you make a good point. Sub 22 for that second corner, the burst of speed in hand. And I think everybody in the Bing Crosby field was glad what happened last time, but they're not sad they came here. This horse was dominant. Awesome Slew, the only horse that made up ground. Mind Your Biscuits, hopefully everything's okay with him. He backed up early in this race.
Well, we knew he had a big advantage going in, not only his incredible talent, but he was going to be
it would have mattered.
The one on the lead in here. Yeah, absolutely. But when you get things your own way up front, tough to beat when you're reigning Breeders' Cup Sprint champion as well.
Well, when you can go 108 and change and just in hand like that, I mean, just in cruise control.
And again, essentially, this is his first start of the year. If he can improve off this, look out. Let's go to Maggie on horseback.
Yeah, here with Mike Smith on winning end this time. So pleased to talk to him about Dre Fong here. Easy peasy lemon squeezy here in the 4-go, Mike.
Yeah, you know, I probably didn't have to get after him as much as I did, but I've been getting my butt kicked today, and I didn't want to get caught again. You know, not knowing if Mind That Biscuits or some horse would make a huge run down the middle of the racetrack again, but he just absolutely loves it here, and he ran dynamite.
He did. 2 fifths, less than 2 fifths off the track record. You feel as though you were going that fast? He demolished this field.
He actually did it pretty handy. Bob did a tremendous job of getting this horse ready for a race like this off of really no race, because he didn't get to run last time.
And I mean, honestly, does he get any kind of fitness out of that last race, obviously without you?
I don't know. I wouldn't think much. You know, I got to give Bob the credit on that one and his crew, because they got him ready.
All right, Mike, good to see you in the winner's circle. The champ is back.
Thank you.
Guys?
The champ is back indeed and saying, I'm the best. You got to come and get me.
Yeah, Mike Smith and Bob Baffert are just not going to leave New York without some kind of trophy.
There's assistant trainer to Bob Baffert, Jimmy Barnes. Been such a big part of Team Baffert for a long, long time.
Listen, big part. We talk about Bob a lot. This man right here is a 1B, because Bob will even tell you Jimmy's been around him forever. He has one barn that stays in California. Best trainer in the world, has been offered to go a lot of different places, but he sends Jimmy with a lot of his horses. Great assistant trainer.
It's Dre Fong, your Breeders' Cup Sprint champion. Much the best in the Grade 1 Forgo. He's still the horse to beat in the sprint division. We'll be back.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish from a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
Back on Saratoga Live, there is your Breeders' Cup Sprint champion, Dre Fong. Essentially, his first race of the year after he dumped jockey Mike Smith almost immediately out of the gate in the Grade 1 Bing Crosby. This time he finishes and he runs his field off their feet. Just 3/5 off the track record here at Saratoga. And the Grade 1 Forgo returns $4.30 for the win.
Dynamite, and he is back. You're right. Mike Smith aboard. That pick 3 comes back $51. Give credit to Awesome Slew and Tom's Ready. They both ran on well in here, but no doubt about the son of Giaponte is the leader in your sprint division.
There's the Hall of Fame jockey. Mike Smith came with many important mounts here this afternoon. Of course, Dre Fong, one of them, but things did not start great for him with Songbird being defeated in the personal ensign. As a 2-5 favorite, American Anthem winds up third, but now he's on the board with Dre Fong.
Poor Mike.
It's a rough life.
Yeah. And it's saying getting his butt kicked to Maggie a little bit earlier. I think he was referring to Songbird. I really thought, or he thinks that Songbird probably wasn't going to get beat today. You know what? When I talked to him, he was most worried about Dre Fong because the horse didn't have a race. Wow. Maybe I should just take whatever he says and turn it around. But that's about the 28th plate he's held up in the last 2 years. It's been an amazing run, Greg.
It's been incredible, him teaming up with Bob Baffert. Mentioned they're now over 49% together on the year. And let's talk with the guys downstairs here. This was the Breeders' Cup rematch, Tom and Andy, between Dre Fong and Mind Your Biscuits. And what does this do now? What does this mean for the sprint division?
Well, one race doesn't change everything, but you have to say that Dre Fong is now back, and he becomes kind of the worst to beat. And Mind Your Biscuits' performance was so bad that you could say it was so bad it's not to be believed, but he's got to bounce back in a big way.
He does. You know, it seems like Mike is the only one that gave Bob Baffert his due after that race. We really should have, because to get Dre Fong ready to go 7/8 of a mile off this kind of layoff and this kind of performance is an amazing job as a trainer. Not only that, but he had to also make sure that he wasn't going to make that same mistake out of the gate that he made last time in the Bing Crosby. Big performance. He shaked, rattled, and rolled all the way to the winner's circle.
That Bob Baffert, he's a pretty good trainer.
Yeah, he is pretty good. I think we'd all concur with that. Big Race Bob does it one more time, and he has still more to come. Of course, he'll send out West Coast in the big one. That is the Midsummer Derby. The Travers, the most wide-open 3-year-old division we have seen in a long, long time. All 3 individual winners, Paul, the Triple Crown, return in this race. Top 2 finishers from the Haskell, top 3 finishers from the Jim Dandy.
And these are the live odds right now, currently here on track. And surprising. You're getting 8-1 on West Coast, who I think a lot of people like. Good Samaritan has been around the track. I am dead surprised at 2 different odds. I wrap, first of all, at 7-1, and I cannot believe Always Dreaming is 5-2. I'd like to take all that action.
Yeah, of course, guys. He was a Kentucky Derby winner. There's a lot to like with him, except his comeback race when he ran here in the Jim Dandy. Had the lead to himself, and he got beat.
It's hard to see Always Dreaming bouncing back and winning it, but the inside has been good. I mean, you watch these races, and it's really helping horses with inside position in a lot of different places, and maybe people feel they can wire the field, but we don't.
It's going to be an exciting race. I see great betting opportunities with some of the others in that race, especially West Coast.
We'll see if the Kentucky Derby winner can bounce back. We will see if the Preakness winner, Cloud Computing, can bounce back for Chad Brown. And, of course, Todd Pletcher also sending out the Belmont Stakes winner in Tappert, his first race since he was triumphant in the Test of a Champion at 1.5 miles. He's been trained up to the race since that performance. We'll see if that was the right move. It is an incredible field signed on for this Midsummer Derby in the Travers. And, of course, Good Samaritan right now second choice on the board. He made his dirt debut in the Jim Dandy right here at Saratoga when he beat the Kentucky Derby and Preakness champs in that race. Can he do it one more time in the Travers? That is coming up next. You can watch more racing with the NYRA Now app and, of course, on NBC. What a day of racing we have coming up. Forever Unbridled getting by the 2-time champion Songbird. How about that, Dallas Stewart? Fired up with a Grade 1 win, and he's got a major contender now for the Breeders' Cup Distaff. What a performance, taking down a champion. And then By the Moon, Michelle Nevin, Rajiv Mirage victorious in the Kettle One Ballerina. How about Practical Joke for Chad Brown? Undefeated, going one turn in his career. What a 3-year-old and a huge performance. And the Breeders' Cup Sprint champion, Dre Fong, taking him gate to wire in the 4-go. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you on Sunday.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Visit the new Rivers Casino and Resort, the Capital Region's only destination for live table game action and where the hottest new slots are paying out millions. Sign up for Rush Rewards and play up to $500 in slots on us. Plus, we'll double any casino offer and match your tier. Rivers Casino and Resort.
The world's #1 sire of 2-year-olds, Warfront, continues to command top prices with yearlings this year, bringing up to $1.9 million. On the track, Warfront has sired recent Grade 1 winner Avenge, Grade 1 victors Brave Anna, and graded stakes winning juveniles in France, England, and Ireland, Roly Poly, War Decree, and Intelligence Cross. A leading sire on all fronts, from Paris, Kentucky to Paris, France. Claiborne Farms, Warfront.
And they're off. NYRABet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NYRABets.com. Bet the NYRABet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NYRABets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any NYRA track or New York OTB location. NYRABet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Coming in hot is Cadet Mike Clella. Cadet Clella is from Wilmington, North Carolina, and is a member of Company E1. Let's get loud and welcome Cadet Clella as he completes jump number 209. What a beautiful landing. Up next in the stack is Cadet Will Derrick from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Cadet Derrick is a member of Company A1 and today is completing jump number 233. Please put your hands together for Cadet Derrick. Right on target. Fourth in the stack is Cadet Jeremy Stanley from Wilmington, North Carolina. Cadet Stanley is a member of Company G1. Today, he is completing jump number 250. Put your hands together for Cadet Stanley. Up next in the stack is Cadet Cam Johnson from Richmond, Virginia. Cadet Johnson is a member of Company C2 and